And now, another exciting episode of PSVG.
Welcome, Internet. It's your boy, Dat Ninja Dev, and I am here hosting this garbage truck on fire because Elaine is out. Yes. I'm, of course, joined by the other two Ds, the Chuckleheads, Delvin and Dannohh.
Did New Jersey lose internet tonight?
Did New Jersey ever have internet? They were probably bumming it from New York.
Good question.
Yeah. We are also joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Sean Capri.
Capri and some 3Ds. What's going on, guys? Whoa. I'm surrounded by Ds. Oh, no.
Whoa.
I hear
Why does this always happen when Elaine is not around?
Didn't know this was this kind of party.
Oh, it's not.
Isn't it always?
Elaine sets the tone. Let's be honest.
She just kind of keeps us in check a little bit.
I don't think she does that.
Not really. She just deals with it. That's really the best you can. Just you got to get through it, you know. Mm-hmm. We're a lot. So how are you, Sean?
I'm awesome, man. I've spent too much money on controllers these days. I'm playing all the breadth of that Xbox has to offer, all the Halos and all the Forzas. I just got to get some gears in my life, and I've got the trifecta. But life is good, man. I've got my Diet Coke my wife just dropped off for me. I've changed clothes twice or three times before we started. So I'm good, dude.
You are in full shine.
I just wanted a hoodie. I wanted to fit in.
There you go. And you have the right one. You have the pullover hoodie. This is the correct hoodie. The correct.
My wife is dead set against these hoodies, by the way. She's all about the zip up. She will not handle a pullover.
And whatever Chelsea says is correct.
Most women are. Most women want to zip up because it's just they've got something we don't, you know?
Nah, I'm getting there. I'm like BC cups. Like I'm getting there, dude. Like I'm ready to nurture a child with these things, dude.
Elaine, God.
Yeah. Wasn't me this week.
Rebecca shows up. I'm embarrassed because Rebecca's here when I say something stupid like that. But there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
My first and last time on this illustrious show. Better make it a good one.
I think you'll be all right.
Thanks, man. You'll be just fine. What about you, Devin? How are you this week, man? How's it down in Florida?
I'm doing good, man. Integrity is an important part of who I am.
Is that right?
Never selling out to the man in corporate America. That's not my thing of selling out. Just got to keep it real, keep it 100. Just not selling out to any companies or just keeping that integrity in check. That's very important to me. Because if I am a man of nothing else, it's integrity. Damn, this G4 robe is hot as hell. Gosh. But it's very comfortable.
Lord have mercy. So anybody who wants to send Delvin anything, just know he can be bought.
I will take it.
Price, and it's usually low.
Yeah, it's very low. I can't be bought.
Sure.
Integrity.
Winks at an audio podcast. Nice.
Yeah. That's really good for the audio listeners. They can hear that wink.
Yes, that's important. I knew you were going to say that.
I got you.
That's how I'm here. We are here today.
Mm-hmm. And last but certainly not least, Donnie, how are you? How is your week faring?
What's up, dudes? Pretty good. Went go-karting, went putt-putting, went bowling. Had fun this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of fun. That sounds great.
I'm excited for the show. It's going to be a long one. Hope you guys are ready.
Strap in, boys, because it's really just the Xbox Empire.
We have so much news to talk about, and I've got so much game stuff to talk about. So
let's get that out the way. What are you playing, Donnie? Because you clearly have been playing the most stuff out of all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with Delvin. Piggybacking off of Delvin, I played the Call of Duty campaign, Vanguard, and I have notes. have so many notes because I tried to.
It's my favorite
here it
part
is.
of the show.
There it is.
I'm glad you have
I've
notes.
got notes.
I had so much that I wanted to say
You need a
tonight
shirt
that
so badly.
I was scared that I'd forget half of it, so I wrote most of it down.
Let me tell you what happened to me before you even start.
Sure.
I started playing it again after the show. It proceeded to crash on me 3 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
that's the thing.
I said, "Fuck this shit! I'm never touching it again."
Where were you?
I was at home,
No. Where were you in the game?
I was on the 3rd part.
Okay.
Like right after the part where the whole, I want to spoil, like the whole thing that you were showing earlier in the week, the cool part when you,
Which part?
after you jump out the plane.
Yeah. No, that's almost that. God, that's at the beginning. You're still in the first chapter. Okay, so let me pick right up there. Yeah, I've got a lot of technical issues. That's honestly that could be a growing trend for this whole damn podcast. I'm having struggling to play most of my games. GTA, Horizon, Far Cry, Call of Duty, they're all giving me issues. Like Xbox is cursed. But I was playing Call of Duty Vanguard, and I really like it. It's not my favorite campaign. Don't get me wrong. But it's better than last year's. And I liked last year's. I thought last year's was fun. It was short and uneventful, but it was fun. This year's is way better. Here's the interesting thing about Vanguard for me is after I played the first chapter and I'm maybe like half of the second one, I honestly didn't like it. I almost quit. I almost just I'm just going to go back to playing Forza. Like, this is boring. Dev, this isn't for you. Based off of what you said about how you feel with World War II, this game is like greatest hits of World War II games. It's got every trend and clip that you've ever done in any World War II game all in one. You storm a beach, you jump out of a plane, you do the Battle of Midway, you fight in Japan, you go overseas. It's like just all the Medal of Honor and Call of Duty World War II memories of your entire life wrapped up into one campaign, and you kind of just scroll through these different memories. That said, Call of Duty typically nails it a lot of time on production, and in this regard, they really did. Like, their cutscenes and animation work in this game is pretty stellar. And it's hard to beat in a lot of ways. And as I kept playing, like I said, I almost gave up on it, and I kept going. The more I played, the more I warmed up to this cast and really enjoyed the characters. It has that Bad Company, almost Gears, kind of like the DLC, the Hivebusters stuff. It kind of has this collective band of misfits. Like, every person comes from a different background, and they all have their own different thing, but then together they all kind of fit. The cynic in me, halfway through when I was about to quit, the cynic in me wanted to rail it, because like I said, it does everything you've ever done in World War II again, except now it's done the main guy is a black character, and then you've got the girl character, and then you've got the Aussie character. It kind of reads like a diversity pamphlet for college. Everybody's here, right? We've got representation for everybody. And the cynic in me really wanted to be this is lame. This is cheap. They're just going for it. But by the end, it won me over. It's not lame. The characters are really cool.
The sniper,
Nightingale
the girl,
is really
she's awesome. I was actually watching X-Play's review on it, and I was like, oh, this almost makes me want to play it. Just seeing all the different characters. I was like, this actually looks like it could be cool, but I'll probably just watch it sometime.
The villain is excellent, and definitely wanted to put a bullet in this dude's head. I could not wait. And the cutscenes that star him and his performance are Man on High Castle type stuff. It's very cool in the sense that it goes into this Fourth Reich, separate ward, and it's so funny because funny is not the right word. It felt like it was trying to make you think it was smart, but then by the end, I kind of do think it was. And obviously, you get a little bit of backstory from each character and where they're from and why they've come to be in this unit together, and then it all culminates with all 4 of them going on a final mission. And the production values are great, but what's not so great? I had a lot of technical issues. I posted a video. You can find on my Twitter account of this one chapter where I just thought this was the way that the game was, because you're fighting a lot of people that have mortars, and there's like a strobe light going off on the screen the entire time. I played the entire level like this, and I asked Kevin, I was like, Kevin, did you just do this? And he was like, no, it wasn't like that at all. It was miserable. I've had it crash several times. It's lacking a lot of polish that Call of Duty typically has. In that regard, like all of the little nitty gritty nooks and crannies are not like really, combed over. That Call of Duty, like I said, production values, graphics, sound design, like all that stuff, visuals, like they usually bring it and then some. Most every game they put out. So I was a little caught off guard to see that I was having as much issue as I was trying to get through the campaign. It also, what I did not know is, we can go a little game tech here, Dev. They don't have a 4K assets pack, as has been typically the fare. They stream in assets. There's a high def streaming thing that they've added. Apparently, they added this to Warzone late last year. This is new to me. I'm sorry?
Sounds absolutely awful. If you don't have good internet, and that just sounds like a bad idea.
What I noticed on it, first 20 minutes into the game, I would enter a room and it would like slow down and then like super quickly snap back into place. Like you'd almost like slow down and chug, and then it would feel like it was fast forwarding for 30 seconds. And I was like, what in the hell is going on? And I started
frame tracing, throwing in all the assets.
Packet burst is apparently the term for this, that all the folks on the Reddit and everybody are talking about. I turned it off, and it definitely smoothed out the game experience, but I had to play the rest of the game without 4K, without all the 4K quality assets. So like people's
You don't even have the option to download it? Like I could understand.
No, there's no option
trying to avoid,
download.
Because it comes under fire, this game, the Call of Duty. It's always, 400 gigabytes, you got to download.
No, this year's
obviously trying to avoid that.
60 gigs.
Yeah, I mean, this is why. This is
why.
a huge
Because they cut out the other 30 of it. And so I had to play the rest of the game. Like the character's hair didn't have like hair. It was like kind of like that plasticky Life is Strange, comb over kind of look, which was fine. I'd much rather deal with that than the chugging parts of it. So once I figured that out and turned that off, the rest of the game is really pretty in a way that I don't typically associate with Call of Duty games either. It has a lot of style, kind of this like dark, like gothic kind of like everything, especially like in the dark settings, like at nighttime, or like when there's like a lot of death around, kind of has like that beautiful grotesque type appeal, right? Where everything's like awful, but then they'll highlight like this pink tree or this flower, or like this fire. There's so many scenes in this game where the lighting source, be it the sky or a fire or like a barn, will shade the entire screen with like this big ambient yellow or red glow. It's just way more colorful than what we typically think when we think Call of Duty. Yeah. So I liked Vanguard quite a bit, and by the time I reached the end, I was really happy that I stuck it through, and I would like to see a sequel with these characters. It was a lot of backstory and just like one mission together. I'd love to go on more missions together. At the end, they kind of leave at least a place for the potential in the future if they wanted to. Like the Third Reich falls, Hitler's dead.
World War II. We can keep going.
Well, but it's like more like Wolfenstein, where it's all like alt history, right? So like at the end, does anybody care if I spoil the end of a Call of Duty campaign? Do you think listeners care?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay, then I won't.
Yeah,
at the end, they make mentions of like other things happening across the globe that never really happened. Like the war is not over. Like, I guess per se, like the war is over, but there are still these operations going on. It'd be cool.
Ever over? I mean, there's still Nazis today.
Yeah.
Is the war
Never
really
changes.
Never changes.
One thing that I wrote down was chaotic and dangerous. And Delvin, I want to get you back in here because I feel like this game more than other Call of Duties, I felt like I felt danger. Like I was hitting the deck because the sound design is so good, but there's a lot of things happening. Like bullets are whizzing by. Like some of the firefights that you get into are they feel they feel real
like
firefight.
Yeah, you feel like
you're in the trenches
danger.
for once.
Yes,
I feel like that was World War II.
No,
I think a lot of times in these shooters, you feel like you can walk up to the enemy and shoot them. Not in this game.
Not this one. This feels like you have to duck, hide, cover.
Hide. Yes, find corners, find points. I felt like that way more in this game than any other Call of Duty campaign that I can think of, and I think that made me feel like way more immersed into what I was doing. Like I was really in it.
I agree. And also, you got to watch your back.
Yeah, the enemies they'll flank you. It's kind of good.
It's good.
It doesn't wait till they have it on.
It snuck up on me, man. It's
you have it on, Delvin. You want us to just go ahead and send it to me like you did the
It's not. Here's the thing. It's not my favorite campaign just because it is short. I think I beat it in 5 hours or so. It's not like super long.
Infinite great to me.
Infinite is my favorite because their campaign had like full character arcs and building. I still think that's my favorite. And then like maybe the Modern Warfares, but then this one might settle in like right around below that.
I agree.
In terms of campaign, it's not in the standard of fare. I liked it.
Nice.
So that's
almost selling me on it. If I can get it for $30, I might pick it up. Like
I didn't buy it. I wasn't planning on buying. Kevin got it for review, so I was like, let's run through this real quick. Dev, let's talk about GTA because it is a fucking mess.
It is a dumpster fire. God,
I did play a little bit of this, by the way.
So upset.
I'm sorry
to bring this to the show. I've been so excited all year for this. This is all that I've ever wanted.
We were so excited.
It's broken. It's not broke. Okay, calm down, everybody. Like the internet knows. If you're listening to this, you already know. You've seen it. It's not Cyberpunk bad. It's playable. I'm still playing it. It's okay. It's fine.
It's just not what you want from a remake.
It's not even anywhere close what anybody wanted. It doesn't live up to the name of Rockstar. It doesn't live up to the legacy that these games hold. It's none of that. Okay, so let's start with the port job because for those
let's start with your experience trying to play it the first night.
Well, let me ask both of you this. Which game are y'all playing? Are y'all playing 3? Are y'all
GTA 3?
Yeah, I'm playing 3.
I'm through the second island.
San Andreas.
I'm through the second island. I've put in quite a bit of time here already. And this is a port of the mobile game by Grove Street Games that they've upscaled. And
number 1.
Yeah, it's like a Frankenstein mishmash where it's like half remake and half remaster and half mobile game being ported to PC, architecture. And the problem that I think honestly, the problem centers with this. There's no like human element really to be found here. And I feel like that feels like you are like I'm minimizing. Obviously, some developer somewhere put work into this. Like we make fun of Nintendo things all the time. We'll say like, hey, like an intern did this. That's what this feels like.
It feels like that.
Yeah. It feels like
so many things they missed.
They ran the code through an upscaler or an API that emulated it because there's no human aspect to what's going on. It doesn't feel like anybody has played this. The rain effect, like they have this filter over the screen where it rains and it is awful. Like
it's a torrential downpour.
You
zero
can't
visibility.
See. It's super dark. I turned the brightness all the way up, turned the contrast all the way down, and you still can't see. It's all over the place and in your face. They have these textures, which I want to say nice things about it too, because there are parts of the game that look better than ever. In so many ways, I want to tell you this is the best way to play this game. The cars look great. The main characters look great. The cutscenes look really good. Everything's in widescreen. It's 4K. Like it's sharp and it's nice, right? You have any light source, like if there's a lamp or the sun or neon, like I did boot up GTA Vice City, anything like that looks great. Anything in the dark looks you can't see it all, like inside of a car, inside of a building, under a roof. And it makes me wonder, like, did anybody play this before they released it? And then it gets worse when you see things on Reddit and Twitter, they start to trend where you have pictures of billboards that are misspelled wrong, like all this stuff that's done. Like, it's like, did anybody take time to look at this before you shipped it? It doesn't feel like it at all.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem.
It feels like they totally just took the port, ran it through an upscaler. It was like, does it play? Yeah. All right, throw it out there.
I'm like falling through the world.
No love and care at all.
I've posted videos of. I've gotten so much edginess and frame rate. Digital Foundry has already done the the eulogy on this. The frame rate's all over the place on every console. Like it's 60 on Xbox, but it drops as low as like 38. On Switch, it's 30, but it drops as low as like 12. Their recommendation
PS5 is like 45. Yeah, the recommendation is play the PS4 Pro version
on PS5
to get a solid 60. But then you lose all the resolution. So the PS5 version, it's like when you play it in performance mode, it's like they forgot to take out all of the like after effects, like the puddles and all the light and shining, so that just completely tanks the frame rate. So normally on Xbox when you play in performance, it takes all that stuff out. On
Why
PS5,
is the frame rate even
it leaves
to be
all
tanked?
that stuff in, and it tanks.
We're talking a 20-year-old.
Anytime you have multiple light sources, it's just like, nope, we are going to chug.
It runs on my Chromebook,
you play in the rain. Ugh.
Like, this is ridiculous. You're talking about something that can play Forza Horizon 5 at 4K 60. Why is GTA 3 like this? Why is it running like it's broken? It's kind of a mess. I would not encourage anybody to spend $60 on this. The best theory that I saw over the weekend, because I've been following this, is that there's a Reddit thread where somebody surmised that this was supposed to be included as a pre-order bonus for those that
for PS5.
For the GTA 5 remaster. Had I gotten this for free, I wouldn't have cared so much.
Yeah.
But this isn't for free. I paid $60 for this, and I was very excited because, like I've said a million times on the show for years, these are some of my favorite, most seminal games of all time. I love these games.
Dude,
the last thing I would have expected from that is for it to be in this case. Like, that's why you buy it day one.
We're talking about Rockstar. I hate Red Dead Redemption 2, and I still respect how detailed and beautiful the game is. That's what Rockstar has always done. GTA 5, the scope of GTA 5 is ridiculous. Like at the time when it was released was we've never seen anything like that before. That's what they do. For them to release this, even if somebody else ported, I don't care. Their name is on it. These are their games. Like I said, these are seminal games for people. They should care about their legacy.
Yeah.
You would never do this to a Zelda gamer. Like, what the heck? This is bad.
You might do it to a Mario game. You might do something close to a Mario game.
The Mario 64 is way better than even this is.
Of course it is. Of course.
It's bad.
It's such a miss. It's such a huge miss in terms of just the quality of the game. The games are totally playable. But the sad part is it feels like you're still playing the original versions because it's so damn janky.
I was going to say that exact same thing. Because when I turned it on and started playing, like, oh, this feels like the original version. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
I think the shooting's better. I think the driving's better.
Oh my God, I hate the shooting. The shooting feels awful. Like there's
have you played the originals in some time?
Yeah, the shooting in the originals.
I have. I think it's better.
It's just for me, the sound period just completely is.
The sound is
trash.
not great.
The sound is.
It's like original voiceover. Like they have the same original tracks as before. They're just like playing. It sounds like they're playing in like mono. It's not very good.
It's like you can remaster music. That's done all the time. Like remaster the sound. Like it is so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Rude's 93 brings up that they had to pull the game from the PC store.
Wow.
Because it included the tracks and like the hot coffee stuff and like developer notes.
Yeah, it had all the developer notes, the hot coffee
everything.
Everything was in there. Had to pull
because
it off,
they were afraid that they'd be sued. So and here's the thing, then they weren't offering refunds. So there are people, thousands of people that bought it on Steam and then couldn't play it for like 4 days after they bought it and couldn't get a refund either.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Why? I have a question, Don. Why have you spent so much time into it though? Like, I don't understand. Is it just,
it's still fun. So in spite of everything that we're saying, the game is still fun. It's still GTA 3. I'm still having a blast.
I want to play
playing GTA 3. Like it's still so much fun in spite of all the jank.
Yeah.
Like,
you just have to fight through it. I've had this weird thing where anytime I drive, I've showed this to Dev like 4 times. Anytime I drive down the street where there are buildings on the horizon, all the buildings blink. The light.
I don't know why that happens. I don't get that at all. I sent him mine and like
it doesn't look like that anyway at all on PS5. So on mine, they blink constantly. There's nothing I can do about it. And when it rains, like if you go to the beach and watch it rain, the rain never hits the water, but it also like falls through like every ceiling or overhead. Like if you're an overhang, like it falls through that, but it doesn't hit the water. The water looks just flat blue. There's no wave or anything. It's just bad. It's really, really bad. And this is not at all what I was hoping for. Yeah. And huge miss for me, which is an ongoing trend, I guess, for me in the last year.
Yeah,
they haven't said anything either about like patches or like we're aware of the issues. Like they haven't said
anything
at all.
And that's the scary part is nobody really knows if they're going to fix it or to what links they'll fix it. To be honest with you, at this point, I'd be happy if they just turned the rain off. Just turn it off. Like let me control the night and day cycle and let me turn off the rain, and I'd be happy. Because like I said, it is playable. I don't want to make it sound like you can't play it. Again, it's not Cyberpunk levels of bad, but it is. It's not good either. Like what I said, it's funny. You guys said it's like playing the originals. I said it feels like I'm playing a demo made in Dreams. It's like somebody took Dreams and tried to remake GTA, and that's what it feels like I'm playing.
Mm-hmm. I can see that too. I can see that too. Honestly,
or like somebody made it in like Disney Infinity. Remember, like you could make games in like Disney Infinity. It's like this is what it feels like. Somebody took some.
It does have
sandbox
that sheen to it. That Disney Infinity sheen to it.
Everything kind of feels flat and lifeless and kind of like claymation-ish. Yeah.
Yep. I still like it. I do have a question for you because when I tried to, you guys saw when I tried to buy it the night it came out, they wouldn't let me pre-order it or nothing. So I wonder, is that a reason why I couldn't pre-order it? Like they just didn't put the pre-order. Pre-orders was not open for me at all. I couldn't buy the game until.
See, that's crazy.
I bought it. I pre-ordered it while we were on stream.
I saw you playing it. I posted pictures. I could not buy the game until noon the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't even show up. It would show up not available to purchase. It would say notify me when available. I added it to my wish list, and I think at noon the day of it said, okay, you can buy this now.
I would really I really hope that they fix it. These games deserve better than this.
Yeah, I wonder if they pulled it down.
Why, Donnie? You could have played San Andreas and Vice City between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. Could you not have? Like,
no,
you still
no. Vice, not Vice City. GTA 3 comes to Plus in December. He could have played San Andreas.
Oh, it's still a little while.
And it's not Plus though. It's not Plus. It's PlayStation.
It's
now.
Not Plus. It's now. Yeah.
Oh Christ. Okay. Never mind. Well,
yeah, that's the correct reaction. I was gonna buy it anyway. I was always gonna buy it, and I was gonna buy a physical copy on Switch. And Lord of Mercy, the Switch version is worse. There's no shadows in the game. The cars don't like roll, like they just float. Like it's bad. It's real bad. And that's just a bummer because I know there are people out there that don't like the mobile versions. They are somewhat, janky, which is I don't even really hate the game for being like janky. Like I had a floating car. That's hilarious. That's hilarious stuff that happens in GTA. That doesn't bother me at all. But the mobile versions are excellent. They're widescreen, they're high definition, they run great. I've played Vice City so many times with my Chromebook, never had an issue. The floors have reflections, the lighting's great. Wow. I have no idea what's happened. Like, what in the hell has happened? Like, is this just what happens when you port a game from ARM to x86? This is what happened, and then you make it even worse when you throw Unreal on top of it. Exactly. That's what's happened. They've taken a game built for ARM architecture, put it into Unreal, and then released it for x86,
and then just said go.
Just figure it out, guys. Yeah.
Save as. Yeah, they didn't even save as. They just changed. They just changed
copy
the file
paste.
name. They didn't even do that. They just changed.
If anything, we're missing
extension.
some directories. It seems like they copy and paste half the stuff.
Did they take the rampages out as well?
Maybe.
Have you? Because I was looking for the rampages.
I haven't thought about it.
Just to mess some stuff up, because I knew where there is one in like the first year. I'm like, the rampage ain't here.
I haven't even thought about it. I will tell you that there was a lot said about the soundtrack, and I was listening to a Flashback, and I swear to you, I feel like Flashback only has 4 songs. I don't know if that is or not, but as I keep playing, I'm like, I keep hearing the same 3 songs over and over and over again. And like on the talk channel, I've heard the same like 5 Laszlo stories over and over and over again.
Yeah, there weren't a whole lot to those at all. That was the thing. Like they probably didn't take anything out from those. It just wasn't a lot of audio there. I've been listening to mainly the talk radio, and I think it's Game or whatever is like the hip hop station. And it's like the same stuff.
Hayley says they're there. The rampages.
Okay. I've been doing the phone booth.
Done several of the phone booths. Yeah. So
I haven't finished it. I haven't finished that
it's not great, but we got a long show. We got to keep going. Before we get to Far Cry, I'll talk about Horizon a little bit. I'm still loving Forza Horizon's great. I am having some issues though. They seem to be continuing. I've got 2 of those now, Sean, and I don't know what's happening. I'm having saving issues.
I want one of those, by the way.
I'm having issues with my times on leaderboards not being saved, particularly in jumps, but also I had one in a drift zone and one in a speed trap. And I also encountered like 3 or 4 signs that reset that I know I hit, and then I went back into the game and they weren't hit because I have every sign but the one by the dam. And I'm going to wait for the dry season because there's a ramp right next to it. You can get it now, but you've got to have like a supercar, and it's super hard. I don't feel like sitting there for an hour and trying.
You have all but one of them, but the one by the dam. So there's this one in it's like on the rocks. It's vertical. It doesn't sit like horizontal. It's like up on the rock. You got that one too.
I have all of them.
Oh my!
I've done every board and every barn find, and
I'm 2 away from the barns. Yeah,
I've set most of the traps, and I've almost unlocked all of the Horizon events all at this point. So, but I'm going to wait till the dry season to get the last board because I looked on YouTube, and what you have to do to pull that off to get the dam one during the wet season, not worth me sitting there for an hour trying to figure out. So, but I'm weird. And I did notice that I started getting a message every now and again while I'm playing, letting me know that my cache is almost full, which is something that I've never seen on Xbox before. And I'm like, hey, you're
on a console, period.
Right.
That shouldn't happen.
I've gotten into the routine of doing a full system shutdown after every time I play Forza. I think that might have fixed my issue with the save or server issues. I know that they've got a hot patch coming out this week. I know that they've had a lot of server issues. I think all of us have been playing and have seen that disconnecting error over and over and over again. So, it's a great game. It's amazing. It's performing admirably. And there are a lot of people playing it. And like just the performance of the game alone is incredible. But it's not, there are issues. So I don't know. I do think I'm at a good point now where I don't think I'm going to sit down and play Forza Horizon for 2-3 hours at a time anymore. Like I've kind of done most of the things I want to do. So I think I'll be logging in every other day or so, do a couple events and pop back out.
You should probably go ahead and back your system up and just do a complete hard reset.
I've been thinking of. I said that in our Discord. I'm thinking about just doing a big full on. Do the whole thing, wipe every drive, and just reset back up, and maybe that'll have because I'm having lots and lots of issues.
Yeah, you're having way too many issues with too many games for it to. Yeah. It's time to just boop, boop, reset. Let's reset.
Do the whole thing all over.
Yeah, man. As much as that sucks,
so many downloads.
Yeah.
You don't need all the games though.
I do.
Yes, he does. He does.
Don't hate.
Do you not know who this is?
I mean, it sounds like it's working out really well for you. So keep doing what you're doing. I guess, like whatever you want, man. It seems kind of obvious to me. Like.
He's not wrong.
I don't have any other issues with anything else. So
I have a question.
You haven't played anything else yet.
I've said what I've said.
What, Delvin?
Do you think? Because I remember earlier we were talking about this. You were saying this is an early contender for your game of the year. Do you still feel like that?
What, Horizon?
Yeah, Horizon.
No. I posted my game of the year list after the Game Award nominees came out, which we can talk about when we get there. I don't mind sharing. And pull it back up. But I sat down for about 10 minutes and I thought long and hard about my game of the year list. Yeah. It's on the list. We'll talk about it when we get there. Far Cry, I played the DLC, which is the only new stuff. I'm still playing Far Cry. I'm still enjoying Far Cry.
Far Cry's great.
And
it's lovely.
The DLC is pretty epic. I don't like it. It's not for me, but for people that do like it, it's like a whole game, like a big full. That's crazy. Here's a whole separate game. The Voss DLC is out, and it's a rogue. Like you go to the little game thing, you jump in there.
Jeez.
You start with one handgun. And then you go out into the world and you defeat these missions and stuff like with one handgun and you earn money to upgrade. And as you die, you just keep repeating and progressing and progressing and progressing. And it has that risk reward where you can go further, like try a little harder, like press your luck, or you can run back and get your permanent upgrade while you still can. And you just kind of do that. And it tells a story through that.
So it's the definition of insanity.
Yeah. I did 3 upgrades and got through like one story bit. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. This is not for me. I'm not doing this at all. But for like Far Cry diehards or people that like rogues, I actually think it's quality, and I think they'll really like it. Like if you're really into Far Cry and you just want like endless Far Cry, like do more, like that's exactly what the doctor ordered. You're gonna love it. So
yeah.
These things tend to arrive late for me. Like I wanted when I was, and the same thing happened with Psychonauts too, actually, where I finished the game and I knew that there were still a couple things I could kind of round up in Psychonauts 2. Same thing with Far Cry. And I knew as soon as I was done for the evening, that was it for the game, because the next day I was on to something else. And it's almost
I was
like,
going to say, is that more of a thing of kind of living on the edge and being, kind of in that reviewer thing where you're always on to the next release.
A little,
because they keep coming. If you stop, they'll keep coming.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. And how are they supposed to time it for when I finish the thing? But
yeah,
and you don't really want them to do the thing where it's like there's DLC and it's available like the day it's released, and then
and people get mad.
Why isn't it just part of the game, kind of thing? So that can be tricky. It's I think timing of DLC is an interesting thing just to look at overall. You have something like Horizon, which came out, what was it, 6 or 7 months afterwards, and everybody forgot how to play the damn game. But this is the Ubisoft model. They have a ton of content coming out. Like they definitely.
We still have Valhalla content coming.
I know, and you'll get a ton of.
And I'll play more
stuff coming for a while. Yeah, is the Danny Trejo thing out? Like
it came out. It was released early by mistake.
It was released on accident. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I played.
It wasn't ready. It wasn't final. Like it's buggy.
Yeah.
Oh
they
yeah,
pulled
yeah.
it completely out in the last patch that came out yesterday.
But I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to play it.
It's hilarious. It's
I'm gonna
so
get those
stupid. It's so good. Yeah, you get those tacos. It's so good.
So anyway, I know it's long, but I've been doing a lot. That's most of everything I've been playing.
What about you, Delvin? What you been playing?
This has been a weird week because a lot of the things about my week has been video game related, but I haven't been playing much video games. The game I have played is it's an indie game called The Last Stand Aftermath. It just came out Tuesday, I want to say. The best way to describe it is a survival horror isometric roguelike.
Nope.
Yeah, you're not. This is not your game, though, at all. Think of it like a State of Decay, an isometric version of it, but you have to play as a character, and essentially you have to go from town to town, managing your inventory, and as you're managing your inventory, you have to find gas in the town, pick up supplies. In every town, every
is that just Wasteland?
Yeah, kind of like Wasteland a little bit, but it's weird. It's not like it's a roguelike weird type of game because you have to you drive to the town, but you're not actually driving yourself. The game drives you there and it tells you, okay, you have 1 can of fuel left. Your engine's about to blow out, so you have to go around the town searching for supplies to keep your car going in these small little hub areas. And as you're going through the area, you have to find essentially a vaccine to keep you from turning into a zombie. And you have to keep going from area to area, finding the vaccine and finding supplies until you reach a certain point in the game. I've just started playing it, by the way. I'm maybe 30, 45 minutes into it. And it's interesting because as you get further into the infection, you get powers. You get a strength boost or more melee weapons you're stronger with or more health. But if you go too far, you turn into a zombie and die. And then you have to start back with a whole other character at the base and kind of do the same thing.
What was it called again? What was the name?
The Last Stand Aftermath.
Yes. It's on PS5, PS4, and I want to say it's on Xbox too.
It's on everything.
Yeah.
From the creators of The Last Stand, Union City, and Dead Zone comes an all-new single-player roguelike action adventure, The Last Stand Aftermath.
It's an interesting game. It's only $25, I want to say.
Yep.
It's weird. If you like roguelikes.
Delvin game.
Yeah, I like zombies, so so far I'm enjoying it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not bad. I haven't died yet, so that's a good thing. I've got the 4 towns and I haven't died yet, so that's a good thing. So I'm assuming I'm doing a good job. But I think the game wants me to die so I can kind of keep going through it and recycling my characters and getting stronger and more stuff and like radios and stuff like that. But it's not hard enough for me to die yet, which is weird. Because you expect these type of games to be hard. This one's not that hard as of yet. And it's kind of weird because like the AI is, how do I say this nicely? Stupid. Like it's ways you can like cheat the AI because they have like these little clusters of zombies in one spot. But if you walk, and sometimes they have buildings, but if you walk just close enough to the door, one zombie will come out and you can beat that zombie to death. Then walk just close enough to the door, and then another zombie will come out and you beat that zombie to death. And you kind of can keep doing that till you clear out the room. And then add on to that, they give you can find, if you search the area really well, you can find powerful weapons. Like I immediately found a shotgun, and the shotgun takes out every creature there. Yeah. This is not a Donnie game at all, to say the least.
Are you sure you're not just playing it on baby mode?
No, not at all. I'm playing it on the regular mode. But it's just not, it's not there.
Well, I'm glad
so
you're
far.
enjoying it. At least you're having fun. That's really
Sorry to interrupt you, but the reason I have notes is so I don't forget things like this. I also wrote down that Call of Duty has some crazy boss battles, like boss fights. And one is basically the fight out of The Last of Us. Like at the lakefront, like the cabin mission with Ellie. It's like the same fight almost. Like knife and everything. Which is also weird. Yeah, right? It's like different.
Wouldn't have expected that. Spoilers.
But another thing I did this week, if you looked on Twitter, you saw I celebrated my son's birthday this week.
Happy
16 years old.
birthday.
16 years old. He's listening to the podcast now. And that's why I couldn't explain on the podcast what I got him. But I got him a PS5.
Woo!
And that was a mission within itself. Because
Why'd you do that to that poor boy?
he has a Series S.
Yeah.
So he has everything now. I got him last Christmas, I got him a Series S because we couldn't find a PS5. I didn't want to not let him join into the next gen fun. So I got him a Series S, which he loved. And this year he was like, I asked him what he wanted for Christmas. He said, I'm saying a PS5. That's all I want. I said, PS5 is like $500, right? So that's going to be like your Christmas
That's
and
your
birthday gift.
and Christmas. You
We're
ain't
both in
getting
the
nothing
same
else.
boat. I got my son. I gave him his Series S.
Yeah.
Everybody in our Discord knows. Me and Dev worked on a skin for it. I skinned it because we couldn't get one of the Halo bundles, so he loved it. But yeah, they were in the same boat. He was like, "I want all." I was like, "That's a lot for a birthday present, kid." So
yeah,
a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Okay.
Yeah, he was legit like I want a PS5 and I want this game and that game. Like, whoa, homie. That's like what you're talking about. Like close to $1,000.
You get whatever
And a
games I have
trial.
and I'm not playing right now. You can take the disc when I'm not using it. Otherwise, you ain't
Here's
getting
a trial to PlayStation Now. You got 14 days. I hope you.
I think in the box it caps like a 30-day trial of PlayStation Plus. You better download some of them games.
Better get in there.
But yeah, I've been trying for months. Like I want to say I started late September, and it was a whole process of every day going on all the sites like Wario64, Cheap Ass Gamer, PlayStation in Stocks, and going back and forth. And PlayStation Direct just failed me miserably. Like every time I go on there, even when I finally got like the invite, I still couldn't get a PS5.
Yeah, how did we end up getting you one? I remember talking to you.
Crazy.
How
I've
did you
gotten
end up
both
getting
of
it?
mine through PlayStation Direct.
I got it because one night I think you messaged me and you were like, "Hey, Walmart's doing this thing where they're starting to sell PS5s every 10 minutes, so you better get in there." So I got in the Walmart thing. I was recording a podcast at the time. Thank God I was on
When
with
are you
multiple
not
people.
recording a podcast?
Exactly.
Though? Like, that's
Thank
the
God
real
I was
question.
on with multiple people because I was like, "Yo, I'm trying to get this PS5, so I'm not gonna be talking that much." And so I'm sitting there from 9 o'clock to almost 11 o'clock. Right around the time the podcast ends, you can hear me on the podcast saying, "I got it." I'm sitting there refreshing, trying to get it in my cart, having it in my cart, it falling out of my cart, having it in my cart, it taking it out of my cart, for like 2 hours. And then finally it got in my car. I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. Then I remember Chalfie. Because I don't know if you guys heard the story about Chalfie.
Yeah.
Chalfie got his and Chalfie got his PS5 from Walmart, and essentially they stole his PS5.
Yeah, fucking FedEx.
Yeah. So I got nervous. I got real nervous. And the thing about where I live at, I live in an area where my house is above an office. So 9 times out of 10, they think because the office is closed, we don't deliver packages. So I had the PS5 sitting in my in-laws' house. So now I'm like, I gotta wait. And they gave me a date like October 25th or something like that. They're gonna deliver it. So, and this was like the end of September. I'm like, I gotta wait to see if they deliver it. So I'm sitting here just watching the ticker say it's waiting for that. Terrified it's gonna say, oh, we can't deliver this no more. We out of stock. Here's your money back. So I'm just watching this for like 30 days. And finally, even when it said it was shipped, I didn't believe it was shipped. And then finally, like it said it was shipped. It was like it's delivered. I get down there to my in-laws' house. It's there. I grab the box, take it home. Didn't open the box for like 3 days. I was like, what if they sent me a fucking PS4 and a PS5 box? I was like, I was paranoid. I was paranoid. I was terrified and everything. But I'm like, these motherfuckers got my almost $600 and they're going to send me a box of rocks or some shit like that. So
how did you not just open it right away to make sure?
Why didn't you just open it?
That's how you were feeling.
I was actually nervous. I was like, God, I would be so pissed off. I would be livid. So I waited like 3 days to open it. I finally opened it, saw the PS5 in there. I opened the box up to make sure it was in there. Like, we're good. Then I had to wrap it up and stuff like that in birthday wrap because I didn't want them to find it. Hid it around the house.
Where do you hide something like that? Like you gotta put it under the entire house. Where do you hide
exactly?
a PS5?
This is the thing. I have where I live at
behind a fridge.
I have my apartment and an empty apartment next to me. That is essentially my apartment as well. So I just hid it in the empty apartment until it was time. Until it was time to rock and roll.
Lost in there.
Like,
that's when it would have been taken.
Yeah, you just got a vacant apartment next door, huh? Just put it right in here for anybody.
I have the keys to the apartment. It's like my house.
What that mean? It's Florida. Everybody got the keys to that apartment.
To get in my house, it would take a lot of work. You got to get through the security gate at the bottom, then come upstairs, get through the bar door. It's a lot. Trust me.
I've seen what they do in Florida.
He lays out the entire plan on how to break in. First, what you have to do.
I think people have done a lot worse for a PlayStation 5.
Yes, that is true.
Mm-hmm. You didn't want to set it up, like plug it into the internet and get it all, like, download all the patches and whatever.
I definitely did that for Jack.
The gift giving thing you're supposed to do.
Have you met Delvin? Have you met Delvin?
I'm just saying. I think it's a good idea.
$500 for this shit. He better do all that shit himself. No, my brother.
Straight.
You are doing this your goddamn self. I am not lifting another finger to help you. And then I gotta buy games for this motherfucker too.
That's fair.
Now you sound like my dad. Yeah. Got me a PlayStation 2 with no games.
Yeah.
Not a single game.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that was my only gift.
No memory card, nothing.
It wasn't even wrapped. I woke up for Christmas and I just saw a box that said PlayStation 2 under the tree. And I kid you not, God rest his soul, his immediate words to me that Christmas morning was, that was expensive. I hope you weren't hoping for something else. That was my Christmas that year. And I was like, did you get a game? He was like, it doesn't come with games.
I should have said that to my son.
So I watched DVDs.
I mean, it was the best DVD player at the time.
It's true.
Yeah. Watch Clerks for the
played that demo disc like 80 times over and over and over.
Hey, you know what? Yeah. Sometimes you got to play a demo disc.
Yeah.
Jesus. What a mess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad your son got his PS5 and was able to enjoy some time with that.
Let me tell you about this bullshit. This annoyed me greatly.
Uh-oh.
So I got him Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. I got him Ratchet and Clank, those 2 games he wanted, and his mom got him, which is lucky her. She got him some Switch Nintendo eShop cards because he wanted to get the Fortnite DLC because Naruto's in Fortnite now. That made him ecstatic on his birthday. So He opens up his Christmas. He opens up his gift. He sees the PS5. He hooks it up. He's excited for him. Like, oh, this is great. Like, so what are you gonna play on it first? This motherfucker said, Crash Bandicoot.
Oh my God. Racing?
No, just like Crash 4. I want to see the Fur K of a PS5. So you lost your goddamn mind. I paid $500 for you to play.
Should have been like,
I'd have unplugged it. I'd have took it back.
Yeah, you can get this when you appreciate it properly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I felt like that. Then the second game he played, of course, was Fortnite. You could have played this on your damn phone.
Yeah. What do you want a PS5 for again? Because you don't deserve one.
Yes,
it's nonsense.
I could have sold that in a bit.
That's the truth. All right, I played Far Cry. That's it. I don't have anything else to say.
Good game.
Sean, you had a week. Tell me what you played, my friend.
I played Halo. I feel like I don't know that anybody's excited about any of the games you guys are playing. I feel like Grand Theft Auto is terrible, is broken, and all this, and Call of Duty's mediocre. I don't know.
But we had a great time. We had a great time with all the games.
I love Far Cry as well, actually.
Far Cry's awesome.
I love it.
It's got some stuff, but I think overall I came away and I miss it a little bit. I miss Far Cry. I love that model of games, man. But Xbox is back, baby. Halo is here. We're playing Forza. I'm level 79, 80 or something on Forza. I'll never catch Donnie. I feel like you set out.
You're a higher level than me. I don't
know.
No,
not like the leaderboards. And that's the thing. Everybody can be a winner in Forza. If you want to go after the speed, whatever thing, speed traps, you're going to get those. You're going to get all the boards. If I'm going to go get all the roads, I'm going to feel pretty good about that. Like I'm leveling up. There's all the things to do. And I even discovered multiplayer. This is something that is not for Donnie, but I think that multiplayer is really fun, man. Like we played tag.
The battle royale.
Yeah, that too. But we had a lobby of like 12 people, and there's all these different like game modes you can play in, like the playground kind of mode. You can play like there's a zombies or like an infected mode. You start out with a couple of people who are infected, and there's a couple of survivors. You go just touch their car, and then the swarm kind of infects each other. It's really fun. Try to be the last man standing. Super fun. Or we just race together and drive around the world. Or we play the Eliminator, which actually is pretty decent. Even if you're like, it plays well enough like a single player experience. You know, like you don't need to squat up or anything for the Eliminator. You just drive around, you find these car drops, like it's almost like getting a better weapon or whatever. And you just go from your Volkswagen Beetle to maybe a Ferrari or something much better, so that you can get from A to B and challenge all these other cars around the map, beat them about it.
We didn't talk about last week when we were talking about Forza, like just how much better the sound design is. I know they made a big part of it in the marketing stuff, but every car sounds amazing and they all sound different. And it's been a treat playing with headphones on.
I mean, I could go on about like every individual piece of the game, but the one thing that I continue to come away with is like, this is how racing should feel. And it's been that way since, at least for me, since Forza Horizon 3. Whenever I play a game like The Crew or really anything where I'm taking control of a vehicle, it doesn't feel quite right. And this is the game. This is every car feels unique. A game with rear wheel drive probably feels like that when we're playing or driving around with our muscle cars. Those feel a very particular way versus a very, very high end car that is great on asphalt, but just terrible in the dirt. And you just kind of like grab.
Not only do they feel unique, but they're believable.
Totally believable. Yeah. The gravity feels right. The acceleration feels right. Like everything.
You're like, yeah, this is how this car feels.
And that's like, to me,
that's like video game magic.
Yes, because it doesn't feel foreign to me, which a game like Project Cars did. And that's a game that the car, I don't know what they're called, like the gurus of those kind of games, they love it. They're so realistic. And I'm like, I spin out if I'm just trying to go straight. Like, that's not fun to me, that's real simulation. That's the kind of stuff that really scares me away. So when I think about even like a motorsport game, it's not that. So it just clicks into place for me, man. And I don't know what's going to happen now that Halo is out. Like I did make a conscious decision.
For some people it's out.
Well, it's out, man. Like it's
not out for me.
You're not playing multiplayer.
I ain't playing it at all.
It's like two different games.
Yeah, it is like two different games. Yeah, it's not out for me at all. I'm glad.
But I mean, like as far as a multiplayer, they're calling it a beta, but it's like
it's not a beta.
The game
the beta
is
was
out.
what you guys played earlier.
That's what I would say too. Yeah.
It's out.
But I have to sort of like
Jack,
really choose to play Forza at this point because Halo's very tempting to just dive
Jack
right
was
in.
so excited, Sean.
Yeah, I'm with him.
I had it all set up when he came home. I had it on the start screen. I had the Halo Oz echoing through the house, and he walked in the door when he got off the school bus, and he started jumping up and down, and he was like,
"That's how you do it."
Because I had told him
the
Saturday, I was like, "Hey, just so you know, there are rumors that Halo's coming out on Monday."
Yeah.
He was like, "Nuh-uh." And I was like, "I'm telling you, they're all over the internet. Everybody's saying it's coming out." And he was like, "No way." He's like, they're just, and it's so funny to listen to him talk to his friends because they think they know all the things, and they know none of the things. Like they know nothing, but they
like us.
Right? But they think they do, right? They think they're so plugged into like the gaming world, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah.
He's elementary school, which I imagine we were all the same way when we were in elementary school, right? Just the way playground banter takes. Over reality for these kids is hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, he walked in and I heard his book bag hit the floor. I almost recorded it, but I was working at the time, so I couldn't. But I was listening and he was like, just started jumping. I could hear him jumping, his feet hitting the ground. He was like, "No way! They really did it? No, nuh-uh." And then I heard him hit the start sound. He was like, "Oh my God!" He ran downstairs. Like, he was so excited. I was so happy for him.
I had a similar experience.
As a 12-year-old.
But yeah, like 3 times older.
Same thing. No way, they actually did it.
I can't believe
I feel
it.
like you tweeted that. I'm sure you tweeted that.
Yeah, I actually did. Like, no way, it's actually here. It was my daughter's birthday, and I'm like, I think I just need to go like downstairs in the basement for a little bit. I'm just gonna. They just surprise launched. They just shadow dropped Halo. So yeah, I'm gonna go play that for an hour and then all night tonight. And I'm here for it, man. And it worked. I had no issues. Like it actually worked, and there's a bazillion people playing this game, and it worked wonderfully, man.
I played for hours.
Like the thing that I'm like slowly but surely coming to realize is like that it's here. Like we've had a couple of test weekends before, and it came and went. And you're like, well, that was fun. I had my weekend fling with Halo, and I'm back to whatever else. It's like this is here, man. This is here, and it's going to take us 12 years to get through a battle pass at this rate. But other than that, I'm kind of coming.
The battle pass goes to what, March or May or something, so it should take you that long.
I couldn't buy the battle pass for him until the next day.
Oh, really?
The shop was down. Like we kept trying to, and it would say disconnecting, it would just reset. So I was like, just wait till tomorrow, and he bought it the next day.
Yeah, and it's a really interesting monetization model that we'll be dissecting for weeks and months to come, I think. Because I think that's the other thing that is worth saying out loud, because some people know it very well. Everybody here knows it very well, but some people don't. It's a free game. It's as free as Fortnite. This multiplayer suite, it's really
don't even have to have Game Pass.
You don't even have to have Game Pass.
It was so cool because Jack doesn't have Game Pass, and usually he and I have to take turns if we're playing a game from my library.
Right.
So I appreciated it so much because I redeemed the game under Jack's account. Yep. So if I'm playing something, he can play Halo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a full-on game, and we were talking about it on the Xbox Drive as well. Even the training, even the tutorials and stuff that they've got in there, I think is excellent and something that you would expect maybe from a paid game. I think it's really smart. It's really ballsy, I think, for everything they've got going on in terms of their subscription service and everything that Halo has been in the past. This is so far from that, just the way that they're delivering it, the way they're rolling it out. So very courageous on that front, but it's still Halo. Like, it's not like you play it and go like, this is totally foreign to me. It's still Halo, and it rock solid gameplay, super fun, and everybody is playing it. And this loops back to a conversation, Donnie, you and I had probably 18 months ago, or maybe a year and a bit ago. Like, Halo is cool again, and people are liking it. And I would say that is for certain now.
I came around to that like maybe 2 months ago or so.
Yeah.
I think I pinged you back. I was like, I think you're right. I think it's cool again.
Yeah, they finally got there. What a year to delay as well.
People seem mostly happy. Even the detractors, like any criticism I've seen, has honestly only been meant to better the game. Like the progression and stuff. They're like, like we need to tweak it, but nobody's like, oh, I don't want to play it. And like everybody's like, I love it. I can't wait to play more of it. So
what a time for it too. I wonder how that all came. I'd love to know behind the scenes how it came to be. It seems like it's meant to just take the knees out from Battlefield and Call of Duty. Like it seemed targeted.
It's a great time to drop a game that's real good when everybody else is having all kinds of issues.
Yep.
Battlefield is in. I haven't played Battlefield,
Shambles.
and I don't try to speak on Battlefield. And I know Kevin said he was having fun with it, so I don't want to detract from those opinions. If you're having fun with it, I'm glad for you.
Of course.
I've been keeping up with Reddit and like the podcasts I listen to, in particular, Rebel FM was scathing. And I know Arthur plays Battlefield. I've been listening to him talk about Battlefield and Battlefront for years, and he tore this a new one.
Wow.
I mean, I was like, is it really that bad?
That's crazy.
Apparently,
How does that
it is.
happen? Like, it's still the same. I mean, I don't know. It's sort of like.
But he was saying, like, I don't want to get into it, but he's got an hour. Like, go listen to Lattice Rebel FM if you care. He goes into all the different classes and all the different things that changed. And he's like, honestly, that was his takeaway. He's like, how do you screw up something so good that you've done so many times over and over and over again?
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked.
That's crazy considering it has no single player.
Right.
That's
That's the whole focus, the whole point.
Like you had one job.
I've gotten so many mixed opinions. I have some friends who are absolutely loving everything that they've done, all the changes. They're just having a blast. And then I have like people who just are the exact opposite. Like, this is just awful. It's just not what I was looking for. This isn't Battlefield, like all kind of stuff. So
it was trending for all
those things.
Worst reasons over the weekend.
Everything that I've seen trending has been mostly positive. People really enjoying it.
Oh, interesting.
For what I've seen. Like, just again, it's all about who you follow. And we live in two different parts of the internet for the most part. But everything I've seen has been people enjoying their time with it.
I've seen the opposite.
So,
I
want to see. I want to see your follow list. I want to check that out. Just jump on
you
it
can't
every
see
once
my
in a while.
followers. No, thank
Not yours.
Mine's is
Dev's.
full of a lot of.
yeah, you guys live in like the Nintendo Xbox world. I'm
But Halo,
far
spot on, Sean. I mean, it's a really good time to have done this. And they've dropped in really at a really good time when I don't want to say anything bad about Fortnite. Fortnite's still, a juggernaut, but like as Fortnite doesn't seem to have like really boosted or like, done like their drop that got really people very, very excited lately.
Is there a
Like
new
they had
season
Naruto, right?
Yeah, Naruto's important.
Right.
They dropped.
Yeah. But like, like they typically have like these events and the whole internet, like it starts trending everything. We haven't done that in a minute. I'm sure they're prepping for it, but it's like, it feels planned, and I'm sure, it was, but I can't imagine. I imagine everybody at Xbox feels really happy right now. I bet you they're like,
big time.
We nailed it. Like, this couldn't have gone better than what it's going right now.
The one thing that was amazing, and it feels like it was like last week or something, it was just 2 days ago as we record this, on Monday night, we had people on the original Xbox One, like the VCR or the Kinect version. We had people on Xbox One S. We had people on PC. We had people on their phone playing all together, all these different devices. So, the bringing up of Fortnite is apt, I think, because it's very similar to that. Like just the number of devices that you can play Halo Infinite on for free, just like Fortnite, they're all there. And we all played. It was completely seamless. It wasn't until like people mentioned it that you'd even know that people were on different devices. That's so cool. Really, and I think that it's there for everybody. For people who've been playing Halo forever, there's a game there for you. For people who are just getting on board, I think the training and the tutorials are really, really good. And the fact that everybody can play it for free, there's so little barrier to entry here. You will find friends playing this thing, which is at this point with the multiplayer thing, it's perfect. And they said they weren't going to release multiplayer ahead of time, and I guess technically this is the beta, and technically I guess they'll do the full version of the multiplayer actually in the same day as the campaign. I don't think that's real, but whatever, that's what they're saying. But it's perfect for me.
Updated to version 1, that's all. Just release a patch, and now it's the full version.
It's such a game of semantics. It's actually ridiculous, but it is what it is. But it's perfect for me because I'll get 2 weeks worth of multiplayer in, or a little more, and then maybe 3 weeks, and then I'll go over to single player and I'll be able to just go get my fun over there. I won't feel like I've got to like choose. If they did everything on December 8th, I would go like, ooh, I'd really like to play campaign, but all my buddies are over here playing some multiplayer. Like, we can get a pretty good fill of multiplayer at this point, and then I'll go jump over and do campaign starting on December 8th with Donnie. Actually, we can't do that yet, can we?
No, we can't play together.
Shoot, you don't want.
We can hang out while we both play.
That's true.
But we
now,
can't
that might
play
be best.
together.
That might be best.
I wouldn't play anyway. If you were like, "Hey, Donnie, we're co-oping," I'd be like,
"No, yeah, I know." It's so sad. It's so good.
Even if it was there for us, I still would.
Yeah. No,
Here we are, Halo and Forza, killing it. Just give me some Hive Busters too. We got our Gears, Halo, and Forza. The trifecta of Halo. I would like that.
They can't put it all out at the same time because then you got nothing for the rest of the year.
Well, of course.
Gotta space it out now. Come on.
But you know what it is though? Like Halo at its best, and it's Forza at its best, and it sort of reminds you of like why Microsoft decided to focus on these franchises. It's not a joke. It's not for no reason. Like these are really high quality IP that they've got here. It's just they happen to be slammed together in a gigantic, mishmash of awesome holiday times for people. So,
which is the perfect transition to the news because
I knew it.
God damn, Xbox had their 20th anniversary? Is that what it was?
Hang on. Kyle Abear, take it away.
Hey Donnie, what is in the news this week on PSVG?
Thanks, Gohan. Yes, Xbox held their 20th anniversary broadcast this past Monday, where they announced all these things, including what has already been spoiled, the Halo Infinite multiplayer dropping out now. It was crazy, and let's read off the stuff because I really enjoyed the presentation. They announced Power On, a 6-part documentary of the story of Xbox that's coming December 13th. And of everything they announced, I might be most excited for this.
Same.
I'm very excited for this. Xbox has a really great dramatic history in a way that like everybody has their moments, but Xbox kind of has a legacy of falling on their face and then picking themselves back up and making it better. That's kind of their legacy. Like it's a legacy of perseverance.
Yeah.
It's the American way.
Yeah, I want to get back to that a little bit later, but I'm very excited for that. It's a really great story, and I think the documentary will be excellent. They announced that 76 games have been added to backwards compatibility. These games include Fear, Skate, Star Wars. There's like 9 Star Wars games. Time Splitters, Max Payne 1, 2, and 3. The OG Nier, like some original From Software games, a bunch. 37 games are getting FPS boosts. Those include Fable Anniversary, Fable 3, Dragon Age, all the Gears games, like every Sonic game that they support, Fallout and Far Cry. They did announce via the blog, this marks the end of the backwards compatibility support for the program as it stands now. They cited things like licensing and just being able to get it, which brings the total of the backwards compatibility, I believe, to over 600 games, ranging from the original Xbox hardware all the way through Xbox One, that are all in the program, that have FPS boosts, that have resolution boosts, that have auto HDR. You can do all the quick online and save states, and you can take snapshots and video recording and broadcasts and all the stuff. The Rock made an appearance. I told you he's been giving away stuff. He made an appearance, and he announced the Xbox Vault, which is this little flash mini game that you can play online. It's in marketing support for his latest show on Netflix. And then Keanu, like they showed a little snippet of Keanu at E3 again. And then they announced Halo Infinite multiplayer is out now. I really enjoyed the presentation. I thought it was a great way to celebrate an anniversary. We talk about anniversaries a lot in video games. Mm-hmm. I feel like it rarely leads to anything that's of consequence.
Agreed.
I say that particularly, I think maybe from Nintendo fan. We celebrate anniversaries as Nintendo fans all the time, and it seems that seemingly Nintendo doesn't celebrate any of them. So for Xbox to not only do a broadcast, but to do it in such a way, felt really rewarding to be an Xbox fan. What did you guys think?
I thought it was cool. A lot of the things the backwards compatibility games got me hyped. I love playing those type of games and things like that. One was missing, so I gotta keep the Xbox 360 and the PS3 hooked up for, because I love the Chronicles of Riddick games. I wish they was on that list.
Damn!
Yeah. I was gonna ask everybody if there was 1 or 2 missing that you want. What would it be?
That was the one.
That's your one?
That's a good one.
Mine is Lollipop Chainsaw and Homefront.
Oh yeah, those are good.
I love the original Homefront and would have liked to have seen it included. The Homefront on PS4 was terrible.
Yes.
But the original Homefront was a lot of fun. It was kind of like, it's like Red Dawn, like the movie, kind of like the video game. It's cool.
I feel like Homefront's on PS now. The original?
The original?
I think so. I got to check.
I mean, that would be cool. Yeah, because you could stream it. It's really cool because have you guys played it, Dev? Sean,
I did.
You know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
No.
I know what game you're talking about. I never played it though.
Homefront is like this old history story where China invades America.
Yeah, I know how the game.
Yeah, I know all about it.
Yeah,
It's
like,
literally
I
Red
sold it.
Dawn.
I never played it.
You're fighting through like neighborhoods and shit as you're being occupied. It's crazy fun. I enjoyed it
It's
a lot.
literally Red Dawn, 100%.
Yeah.
It's great.
So I really liked it. Anybody else have anything to add before I move on?
It made
I
me
didn't
kind of
see it,
wispy,
so.
I gotta say. Like it kind of reminded me personally. You know, I know I'm an Xbox and I got my Xbox show and get the jack and blah blah.
It was called
blah,
a shill by Jace, so I'm
Oh,
in the
there
same
you
boat
go.
with you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's on brand with Jace. That's on brand.
I mean, yeah. The thing for me though is I have been with Xbox the whole time. Like that's the one thing that the podcast started at a certain point, but like I've been there from, I want to say day one. I wasn't there on the actual day it was launched, but I had the original Xbox and I split it with my brother. Like we had to save up our money and go in together on this thing, and it was Canada, so it was very expensive. I remember spending probably $750 so we could get 2 controllers and a game with our Xbox. We brought home Project Gotham Racing, and watching this finally presented this history of Xbox presented in a way that like tapped into something that is similar to what a lot of people experience when they think back about the glory days of Nintendo and PlayStation.
Not something. Nostalgia.
And they've never done that. They've never been. It's been my complaint about Xbox for years at this point is like, you get that heartstrings going. You got to tap into that with people. And it really did for me. And in a way of like remembering just how scrappy me and my brother had to be to get that thing. We were working, we could save up our money. Half of it was being taken away and put into an education account, which we hated at the time, but turned out to be okay. And we realized, even though our household was a non-console household, we weren't allowed to buy video games. We had our computer, but we're like, we have the money. We can buy this thing. We can go and do it ourselves. And I think my parents were kind of proud that we found this loophole because we'd saved up our own money. So it brought back a lot of memories. And I've been thinking about it ever since of just, I've been with Xbox every step of the way and buying the 4 controllers and buying games like Battlefront, like the original Star Wars Battlefront and Dead to Rights and eventually games like Halo. But I played all those other games on the original Xbox because I came over from playing PC, but I couldn't keep spending $600 or $700 on a graphics card. So here comes Microsoft with this console. Like, this is perfect because I've been making fun of the 64 this whole time because games didn't look as good or play as good as Half-Life or Unreal. Like, those were games that I was really liking on PC. So suddenly I've got a PC and a console box, and it was perfect. And then it just kind of carried on from there to me. So I got to relive the last 20 years of my life through that presentation. They went on just like sequentially, the original to the 360. They kind of breezed over the Xbox One, I got to say, and then where they are now. And I remembered my life in every one of those consoles. Like, my life was very different in the original Xbox to the 360.
I'm glad you brought this up. I was gonna save this for our questions later, but I mean, I felt a lot of the same things.
Mm-hmm.
I transitioned to, so I mean, I won't even act like I've always been a Nintendo fan. I've always had a Nintendo console, but I've always tried to have multiple, and I've usually always had 2. And once I went to the Xbox, it's usually always been my Nintendo console and my Xbox. I traded my PS2 for an Xbox. I did it because stupidest reason ever, but this is how I thought when I was a kid. I loved the hard drive and being able to copy your music to the console.
Same.
And the fact that I could play Grand Theft Auto or in NFL 2K while listening to MP3s at the same time, it blew my mind. I was like, this is so much better.
Yeah.
The Xbox
no
for
memory
me,
cards.
You're right. The Xbox for me always became the place that I played everything that wasn't on Nintendo.
Right.
So I had my Nintendo for Nintendo games, and then I played everything else on Xbox. That's where I found Grand Theft Auto. That's where I played Madden. That's where I
Call
played
of Duty.
2K. That's where I played Call of Duty, Medal of Honor. It became the place for that's where I met Bethesda. That's where I played all of those things. It always became the place for all of that for me. I didn't grow up with games as early as you guys, which has been documented pretty well through this show. And I think one thing that's always separated me a little bit from friends and similar age gamers is you guys have a really strong legacy to Japan, and I don't think I did outside of Nintendo. Like, I don't like Square most of the time, and I don't care about like the old Capcom thing, and I don't do RPGs, and I don't care at all about Final Fantasy. So like the Xbox felt perfect for me. It was all this stuff that Nintendo didn't get, and that's what I did. I that's why I played all my wrestling games at Legends of Wrestling and all that stuff. Like after the 64, it all moved to the Xbox, and I loved like my 360 when I brought my 360 home, playing NCAA for the first time. I'll never forget seeing, like the graphics. It also became the place where I chased performance. Like I had my Wii, right? And that was cute. I like Wii Sports and stuff. Like I liked it. Twilight Princess was awesome. But when it came to serious game time, I had my 360. And that's where I played, like I said, Bethesda and Elder Scrolls. That's where I played Guitar Hero and found all of those things.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I'm mostly there with you.
Oh,
I only briefly jumped ship at the start of last gen. The Xbox One was a disaster. It took them 3 years to get me back.
I learned how to like network my house because of Xbox. Like this thing had an Ethernet cable, like an Ethernet port on the back, and it's like I got to figure out what this is. We got dial-up at this point. We got to beg the parents to get high-speed internet to connect to Xbox Live, and it's like, what is a router, and how do I get that? Like, what cables do I need? And like that was on us. Like that, my parents weren't gonna set that up.
I never did that. We didn't have internet half the time.
I remember talking to Xbox support online, and I had mentioned that it had snowed that day because Canada. And I remember talking to somebody from like Texas. She's like, they close the schools if it snows here. And I remember thinking that's just so weird. I was talking to this person from another part of the world, and little did I know that was just the beginning of what Xbox would do. And of course, they would lead the way, and other gaming systems would do it as well. So there was that. I'm right with you on the HD gaming. Like the 360 landed at the time when I was working at Canadian Best Buy. I was working at Future Shop selling HD TVs. I was seeing $1,200 Blu-ray players sitting next to $600 HD
DVD garbage.
I had the HD DVD attachment. I was all in red versus blue. I was there with HD DVD. And yeah, just like going from composite cables to component to high def,
HDMI 720i 1080.
I wanted my 5.1 Dolby surround. I was looking for that light to fire up on my amplifier. It was everything I wanted, and it continues to be that way for that tech side in me. I wanted all my boxes checked. I want all the P's, all the frames, all the Q's, all the whatever. And the Xbox kind of led the way for me on that front, and it didn't cost me $1,200 like the PS3 did.
Right.
I eventually got one because I wanted to see Nathan Drake with his wet pants. That was,
Well, the crazy thing is, like on the 360 side, speeding up a bit, I loved the Xbox for so many dumb reasons. I remember being so excited when they updated the OS. Like they showed at E3 and they'd be like, here's the new Xbox Live experience and we'll roll it out this September. And I remember the day that it was out, and IGN was like, the new Xbox update. I was like, I gotta go home. I gotta leave work.
Like with the avatars, like the cards kind of thing.
Yeah, like the whole new dashboard and everything. Man. I get stupid excited for that. The faceplates on the system. Honestly, the multiple systems. Like we've had consoles that come out in different colors, but like they would redefine, like re-engineer the whole damn thing. Like it could look completely different. Like that kind of stuff. I've always geeked out for that sort of thing, and I've always liked that about Xbox. And I think for the most part, Xbox is they led the way, and that's actually maybe a legacy that they started, because I feel like everybody kind of does that now. We get multiple console iterations and versions. We also get usually multiple dashboard updates, not like Xbox, but
dashboard for sure. Yeah, I think PlayStation gets a lot of credit for the slim, like the PS2, like the slim PS2, and the PS1 actually was just like stupidly small.
Yeah, they did the slim thing, but Xbox is the first one to do all the different iterations, because you could buy like the Xbox 360 core that didn't come with the hard drive. Then you had the regular Xbox with the hard drive.
Well, they had the tall
black Xbox,
the white one. Then they had the E model. Yeah, and they've done a bunch of different.
Really tiny.
Yep. So, I really enjoyed it, and for a lot of the same reasons, Sean. Yeah, I was feeling really nostalgic about it. I didn't even mention Fable in any of that. Fable was my game. I know most people always, gravitate to Halo. And I understand that, but Fable was like the game. I didn't get an Xbox at launch. I don't think, definitely don't think, because I traded my PlayStation 2 for it. So, and the Xbox kind of tanked, right? So it got cheap pretty quickly. So by the time I got it, I guess Fable had been announced. It wasn't out yet, because I remember picking up Fable. But Fable was that game. I remember, is it Molyneux? Who was the Fable guy?
Peter Molyneux?
Yeah, it's the same, right? I remember seeing that an article where he's talking about like all this next world stuff, right? Like the whole world will change. You talk to all these NPCs. I was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing, which is so funny because I'm not a PC gamer. So what I've realized a lot with Xbox and stuff is just my way into PC gaming without ever actually getting into PC stuff.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because this is stuff that, PC folks have been talking about since the 90s. They've been doing this whole time, but it was my taste of it. So anyway. Moving on, we have a lot of Xbox news to get through, so I'll try to get through quickly. Phil's been talking a lot this week. He's been on Axios, he's on GQ, doing a lot of interviews. I pulled out some highlights. He didn't like how Halo's delay was handled. He said he should have known and been honest with ourselves instead of holding on to hope that it would make a launch. And he didn't like the fact that it got delayed when it did and how it did. Microsoft is already pushing him to think about what the future of Xbox is beyond him. He's got many years to still do his CEO thing, but, Reggie was around for a while. We've seen several folks at the helm of PlayStation. I don't know if Xbox fans are thinking of what a life without Phil is like, but maybe it's time to start thinking about it.
We're not ready.
It's going to be Sarah, right?
It seems so odd to think of an Xbox without Phil.
He's turned the whole damn ship around.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like he's synonymous with Xbox. Like
it would be Sarah, right? It
would be weird. Sarah Bond?
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know who would do it without him. Like if not her. No.
I mean, I feel like that makes sense, and a lot of people are saying that sort of thing. But I think we need to, like, when you think about what Phil has done, like the vision he has pitched is so gigantic, and I just don't know enough.
So much time left.
Well, man, like that job has got to be exhausting. You just think about it. The jobs we all have, like our 9 to 5s or whatever. Like he doesn't have a 9 to 5. He has a 24-hour, like just 7 days a week, just like absolutely monstrous job. Like to have that sort of, he gets credit like, oh, he changed things around. Like my goodness gracious, like the amount of hours that guy has put in and how smart he must be, and the teams he's got to keep together and things like that. Along even just with like having the vision for what it's supposed to be. So I don't know anything about that when it comes to Sarah Bond. Like what kind of, like, is she a visionary? I don't know. Maybe she is, but I don't know. I don't know that anybody has the answer for who's after Phil, but I think that he has upped the bar in terms of like what is expected there. I think Peter Moore is somebody who is like a genius marketer, but I don't know that he was really there to push the boundaries of what console gaming was. His teams developed a great product and he got it out there to people, and he solved a terrible problem with a really eloquent solution, save the brand. He deserves credit for that. But Phil Spencer, like, set the vision. Like, you really have to think bigger now. So I wonder who's going to step up and do that, because that's what Satya Nadella wants.
He changed their philosophy on how they do business. And I don't mean to take anything away from him, but when I look back at his decisions, I almost feel like he just applied Microsoft to all of their issues. He just took all of their issues and said, well, how does Microsoft do this outside of Xbox? Like, what do you do in the PC
That's
space?
What I would do.
What do you do in your devices space? What do we do as a corporation? And just applied all that to Xbox. Xbox was kind of operating in its own little thing. And they were like, okay, we're done now. We're going to do Office for Xbox. We're going to do Microsoft for Xbox. We're going to do Windows for Xbox. And now we have what Xbox is.
Yeah. You just need a lot of money to do that. Like, you're right. Like,
they got it.
Yeah, they just took all their things. They did services, subscriptions. They just took their entire model of business for the last 15 years, and they applied it to Xbox, and that's what you get. Yeah.
Yeah. So then where do you go from there?
Keep it going.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is you need somebody that can keep it going. I love Pete Hines, but he's just a communications guy. I don't think he's, stable holders. I also don't have no idea like how involved Bethesda or something like that might be, but and when I think when I'm saying replacing Phil, I'm literally speaking more as the figurehead of the brand, not so much like the behind the scenes, because there's got to be a whole damn team, people in architecture, people on Windows, people from Microsoft, from finance. Like, it's not just Phil in a room coming up with ideas. There's got to be a whole damn team that's doing that stuff, right? I'm thinking like, who's the spokesperson for the brand?
Yeah,
I would think it would be Sarah, or like, I would like Pete Hines too. I think he'd be a great candidate. He talked about Elder Scrolls exclusivity, which is hilarious because the game's not even development, but I feel like it needs to be reminded. Quote, it isn't to punish PlayStation. It's not about punishing any other platform. Like, I fundamentally believe that all platforms can continue to grow, but in order to be on Xbox, I want us to be able to bring the full, complete package of what we have. And that would be true when I think about Elder Scrolls 6, or any of our other franchises. So once again, speaking out on, I feel like this is going to happen until this game releases.
Yeah.
Because like until this game is announced and shown, I still don't think there'll be people that'll believe it. Because it's just that big of a brand.
It kind of doesn't matter if they believe it or not. Honestly.
I saw on Twitter somebody said that, like we say all the time, most people aren't even aware, right? Most people are probably not even aware that Xbox owns Bethesda right now. So like for them, it's going to be like, they're going to wake up in 6 years. It's going to be like a shift to their thinking. They're like, what? I have to get Elder Scrolls? You know, like that's going to be a thing. So I guess I understand.
I feel like if you're following Elder Scrolls, you already are in the know. Like,
if you're a journalist and you're interviewing him, it's like, you have this on record.
About that journalist.
I'm just thinking like
people that journalist who doesn't know. You don't belong here then.
Yeah. So we got Game Pass changes on PC. You're going to be able to add mods. You're going to be able to do custom install libraries. They included the cloud to the app on PC stuff. So, you know, PC folks, PC Game Pass folks, getting a lot of upgrades. Be more Steam-like.
So nice to be able to choose where I want to install things and stuff. That was nice.
Yeah. Hellblade got ray tracing updates and performance updates and everything.
And it still runs like crap on my PC. Makes me mad.
Yeah. Last week, Xbox broke its own Twitter account.
Oh my god! We did not talk about that on the Xbox Drive. Holy crap!
At one point, they were rebuilding followers after it came back online. It took about 4 hours, and then I think they just restored it because I looked at like a couple hours later. It was back to 17 million. I don't know what happened, but it was kind of hilarious. They made a joke about it. Yeah. Oh boy, you imagine Chris? He's like hot water.
17 million followers, and the weekend, but it's days before this big 20th anniversary thing. Halo, right. He knows Halo's dropping. Like, oh god, how does that even happen?
I have no idea how that happens.
Somebody got fired.
I don't think so, but yeah. According to Jeff Grubb, a new 1 versus 100 is on the way.
Yes,
it's been hinted at by Jeff. I'm so excited for this.
What is that?
So, 1 versus 100 was a game show multiplayer thing on Xbox 360. Where you'd log in and do like answers, and they would like poll based on the 100, and you would draw
the original battle royale.
Yeah, it was the original battle royale. It was like a little trivia game. And it was a lot of fun. It
was based on a show. There was a.
Never heard of it.
I might be going on a limb here. I could Google this. Really, wasn't Bob Saget hosting it?
I think that's correct.
I don't know. I know it was based on the show, but I never watched the show. But
it was like like when you think about some of the.
It was ingrained into like your Xbox avatar and stuff. Yep. I remember I'd play with my wife. We'd sit down and we'd play together and ask answers. It was very casual, very fun.
Yeah,
Bob Saget hosted it. Yes,
it's crazy.
Look at that memory.
Streaming hit consoles, so you can stream Game Pass stuff on your Xbox S. On your VCR, you can stream Halo Infinite on your Xbox One VCR.
Better than PS Now.
I mean, it's just there. So that's all the Xbox news. We still have a lot of news to get through, but we've got a couple questions. Question for PSVG from John32. If you could pick one thing, what do you think is the biggest thing Microsoft has contributed to gaming in the industry since Xbox has entered the marketplace? It's a really, well, I mean, that's a great answer. It's a great answer. I do think, and this might not even be answering the question, but it's just where my head was with all the nostalgia. Like I said, this series, for those that aren't into Xbox and haven't been along for the ride, I think the series will be eye-opening for you in a lot of ways. I'm very excited to see what people think about it, especially like if you've just been doing PlayStation for the last 20 years, you don't know. Xbox has a legacy of like kind of stepping in it. They've done it over and over again, which is something that I always think about when people. One of the things that Phil did get asked about was if Game Pass was profitable. I didn't include it because it's a stupid question.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I always think about when people go to that, right, and they're like, "Oh, it's losing money." It's like you're talking about a company who blue screened to death their Xbox when they first showed it. You're talking about a company who released the 360 and had the red ring of death and had to fix cost them millions and millions and millions of dollars. At any point in time, you're talking about Don Matrick, who did the Xbox One and told people to buy a 360 instead. Of all of these giant issues that have happened to them, they still always come back. Like they pick themselves up, they dust themselves off, and they keep going. I always laugh at that when I see the Game Pass thing because they're like, they lost money. I'm like, really? Like that's where you're going to draw the line.
They're playing a different game.
Their red ring cost them so much more money than Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
and they're still here. They could have cashed their chips in at any point in time, and they haven't. So I feel like that's like their legacy. The biggest thing I think is services, and that's really a cheater way of saying Xbox Live, Game Pass. Like that's what Xbox did, is they looked at this market and they said, we can do this a little bit differently. And that has changed gaming. You've had to see everybody else kind of meet them at that level, especially Xbox Live.
I think I have an answer for this. This is a different answer than you guys. I think what they have provided is a viable competition to PlayStation.
Ooh,
what I mean by that is because I don't think Nintendo's its own thing. Nintendo's always been looked at as a thing like, okay, that's the family console. You can play your Marios, your Zelda. Whereas PlayStation kind of always had this feel of like, okay, it's more adultish. And Xbox, whether people know it or not, Xbox is very successful. Like, whereas you've seen Amazon has tried it, failed. Other people have tried it. Panasonic has tried it. 3DO has tried it. Everybody else has tried it and failed. Microsoft is still here. They've had Xbox for a while, and they're still thriving. And you haven't, besides Nintendo, you haven't seen anybody else do that. Sega did it, failed. They went on for a while.
They didn't fail, but they exited.
Part of it is also because Microsoft has so much money.
Yeah.
They have so many other ridiculously successful products that they can allow Xbox to operate at a loss as long as they want to, and it's never going to be a problem. So that's
you're right.
They're kind of
Delvin,
cheating in that way.
In the spirit of competition, you're right, but in the actual revenue, they're not. They're not. We're seeing. I saw the first numbers that I've seen. There's a financial analyst is in gamesindustry.biz, but they said that the PlayStation 5 is currently outpacing Series consoles 2-1, and that the Series S is actually outselling the X because of availability. And that's in the first year. And we're talking about a generation, almost the entire, the half decade or so, where they've outpaced them almost 3-1. And then you talk the lifetime sales of the PS2 and then the PlayStation 1.
They cause innovation.
It's
not
different.
Even so much a competition.
Well, it's completely
more like innovation.
It's completely different in the space because PlayStation operates in a global marketplace, whereas Xbox's marketplace is much smaller.
Yes.
They're primarily a North American focused company. They have some business that they do in Japan and Europe and Brazil, but it is primarily this market. So if you look at them as a product for this market, they're very competitive. If you look at them on the global side, they're not like a true one-to-one rival in terms of products. But they do make tons of revenue. They are a rival in revenue, which at the end of the day is really all that matters. Because of Game Pass, because of Live, because of Gold, because of subscriptions, they make up for it.
Yep.
And I think
they're pushing the innovation piece. They're pushing anytime PlayStation does something, it's like, why can't you do what Xbox is doing? So they're pushing the innovation. They're driving the industry forward. Like if you think about Xbox's original vision, like for the Xbox One of always being online and creating that whole kind of ecosystem, like they're pushing the industry forward, because if they weren't doing it, Nintendo would never do it.
That's for
and
sure.
Sony would just sit on their laurels and just make great third-person action adventure games. Like that's what
we'd
they
still
would
be
do.
paying for patches.
You wouldn't even have trophies.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have high-speed internet connected to these things. Yep. You go all the way back. There's always something. And especially with those first two consoles. Ethernet port on the back, and even like Xbox Live Arcade. The fact that you have even the accelerant of indie games or small games as being just as good.
Geometry Wars, Limbo,
the original Xbox
crashers.
Yeah.
The original Xbox, because you look at the PS2, it had a space for a hard drive and an Ethernet attachment because of what Xbox was doing.
That's right.
They keep pushing the industry forward. Without Xbox, we would just be playing Nintendo.
You have to wonder about first-person shooters too. Like that's the Halo. That's what credit people give Halo credit for. It's like figuring out how to do a first-person shooter. And you probably think Call of Duty would figure it out eventually, or Medal of Honor maybe would have taken off. But the GoldenEye wasn't it. As much as you might want to say.
I wasn't even going to say that. I just think about that as a PC thing that finally just trickled over to consoles. That's
maybe.
That's
wasn't Halo the first open world kind of shooter?
I want to say yes.
Unreal was like the first game that was outside of like tunnels and stuff. Like it was the first outdoor environment. That was the big. That's the engine.
Yeah.
Unreal. But yeah, like you hadn't seen screenshots like that before. It was always like Doom and monsters and ground and everything was
you had all the Medal of Honors on PS1. Like I played a lot of those, but you didn't get that. You didn't get that big open world like space saga. Like we can actually tell a real, an actual new story.
Yeah,
something different until you had Halo and Bungie, because everything else was just war shooters. It wasn't about creating this actual campaign and this immersive story with this really, really, character that you're interested in, like what's going on in this amazing space. Like that was what Halo did, and what it changed the first person genre to be like, no, we don't have to just be war. We can be something different.
Yeah. Question number 2 comes from TPR. What are the new back compat or FPS boosted Xbox games you guys are looking forward to playing? I'm excited to get into Max Payne games physically at Smooth 60. He realized later that it wasn't FPS boosted. Awesome to see legacy support for players like myself who never got to experience these. Sean, P.S. Sean, no one knows who the Edmonton Oilers are.
Damn, dude. That's a bit of a callback at this point, man.
I did take Fable Anniversary for a spin, and it's quite interesting. Resolution is sharp as hell. Like, it is so clear. And the frame rate is nice. The problem is when you swing the camera around, it like doesn't chug, but it's like frame pacing. And it's like the game feels like it's operating faster than it should be. I'm not sure if that's like a thing on emulators, like with PC or something, but it just feels like it's sped up too far. I would almost like cut it back to make it maybe smooth it out a little bit, but I still think it's the best way to play the game. It looks very nice. I'm excited for the Max Payne games. I wish listed all the Max Payne games. I'm going to do the Fear games. I wish listed 10 or 12, 15 games that I'm looking to pick up cheap on a Black Friday sale.
There is one game on this list that as soon as I saw it, I got extremely hyped to want to play this game again. Dev will get this. I don't know if you guys will. Hell yes.
See,
50 Cent,
there it is.
Blood in the Sand.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go,
I knew
baby.
you were gonna say that.
This game is amazing. It is literally just Gears of War with 50 Cent, Tony Yayo, and Lloyd Banks cursing every 5 minutes.
It's good stuff.
I'm shocked that I would have never expected this game to be added to backwards compatibility. I would have never thought that. Out of all the games they named, I would have never thought I would be able to play this game ever again. And the fact that I can is amazing. I am super excited to play this game again. I can't wait.
Any others from you guys?
Nothing. You got to give a shout out to Fear. The Fear games are excellent.
Yeah,
those games are awesome. So good. What I'm scrambling to try and find.
I found Left 4 Dead on 360.
Oh yeah, that was really good too. And it needed it big time. You go back to that; it's pretty rough. But I'm looking for Fallout New Vegas. I don't know if it got FPS boost. It doesn't look like it did. I kind of wish it did. That's not, man, that's too bad. Fear's what I want to play though. Those games, especially if you're 1 and 2, are the ones that I remember. I don't.
Yeah, those are good. I haven't
played the third one.
Those are good.
I'll just play them on PC.
We have a note here, Dev.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. We're running too long on time.
Scratch.
We'll do that another time.
The Game Awards have updated their nominees. The 6 nominees for Game of the Year this year are Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village. Notable Best Indie category gets 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Inscription, and Loop Hero. Before I get your reactions, Josh Stapleton writes, I love video games and I love video game discussions. However, I don't have any interest in the Game Awards other than watching a recap after the fact to see if anything new was announced. As a gamer, should I care who wins awards? It's a good question.
As a gamer, I don't... Go ahead, Dev.
I was going to say, as a gamer, I feel like unless you're a gamer who wants all the info, I don't really think you should care. Because really, it's about playing what you want to play. If something excites you, you should go after it. Whoever wins Game of the Year awards, I mean, unless you're somebody who cares about gathering as much information as you can, I don't think it matters.
But let me ask, I agree with you. You already know how I feel about the Game Awards, but let me be devil's advocate here. You're a casual gamer. You don't really pay attention to what's happening in the news, and all of a sudden you see, these are the games of the year that were nominated. You want to play those games. Do you think it matters then?
I think casual gamers do not care
at all. Okay,
from all of my friends that are the casual gamers, and I have a lot of them. This type of stuff does not matter to them whatsoever. It's like, oh, that one game of the year, never heard of it, don't care. Like that's usually the sentiment that I get.
I think there's scale of casual though. Like I think like you think of somebody like Josh Stapleton who isn't maybe as on every single game like maybe the four of us are because we're podcasting. You know, there's that, and then but there's another more casual than Josh, I think, and so I think that maybe that's where maybe the drop off is perhaps. And one thing I want to say about this too, because I think there's a lot of things to be said about the Game Awards, but like. It celebrates games, and I really have. There are criticisms that can be cast to the Game Awards, but I almost want to be like a little careful on this because we did the same thing with E3. We really started to hate on E3 a lot, and there was a narrative that happened that just really tore it down. Now we don't have it, and I think that sucks. Totally, like yes, absolutely. The royal we,
not me.
The royal we. Me neither. The royal, and yeah, I don't think that includes me either. But I just want to say that, you know, and then we can kind of. We think we can still
sure
see what we say about the Game Awards.
I think the Game Awards are important as just a celebration of games,
right?
But he's asking if he says if he should care who wins the awards. No,
that's fair.
But
that's fair.
As a gamer, you should be excited for the Game Awards because it is a celebration of something that you enjoy.
Totally.
My answer is going to be way more cynical. So, Josh, my answer is absolutely not, because I think and have thought for years now that the Game Awards is a participation trophy for publishers. And I think it's pretty clear that you can see that everybody that basically shows up gets an award. They almost build the categories to make sure everyone's representative. Like I know people say it's the Oscars, and I think when they say that, I think they're focusing on just like the game of the year category, but it's definitely not the Oscars. So when you see like how they build the categories and who they nominate and how everybody wins, they make sure that they get, you know, everybody. PlayStation on stage, Xbox gets on stage. Here's the Nintendo moment of the show. Here's the indie moment of the show. Like everybody gets a little piece of the pie. And I'm not saying that it's traded, but I'm assuming that's a part of their participation in bringing marketing and announcements and stuff. I'm assuming that's a part of the show as they're building out the show. It feels planned. I wouldn't say rehearsed, but planned. Like it's all part of the plan. I don't feel like it's truly a representation of the gaming. I don't want to say echo chamber. I'm thinking of the right word. I don't even think community, because I think there's different communities at work here. The gaming market. I don't think the gaming awards is representative of the gaming market's best games of the year every year.
Is that a bad thing though?
I agree.
I don't think so. I don't think the Oscars are representative of the movie market either.
I definitely agree with that.
It's not.
I mean, the Oscars will give movie that most people have not watched the best picture of the year, and then, you know, like the best movie of the year was Iron Man, and they like, you know, like that happens all the time. But yeah, so I think
I'd almost wish we treated the Game Awards more like the Oscars, to be perfectly honest.
And I think it would be better to do that if there was more inclusion in the nomination and voting process.
I have a lot of issue with a lot of these things that you're saying, Donnie.
Let's do it, Sean.
So I think the only time where that really like comes true is where a game like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice wins, where I don't think that was one that like the majority of people were playing. I don't think it had anything to do with sales. I don't think it had anything to do with popularity. I think it was just like
when Mario Kart takes home best sports title.
Let me focus on the game of the year first. But yeah, there's other things. There's look, we're not gonna.
I was talking about the whole show.
And say, look,
yeah, I was talking about the whole show. Like I said, I don't think it's just the game of the year category. I realize that it gets all the attention. Yeah. I was talking the show. I think the show is almost contrived in a way to make sure that everybody gets their moment.
I mean,
I've always thought that. I've thought that from the beginning. This is not new. If you're listening to PSVG for a long time, this should not be new. I've thought this for years.
I don't think that they're throwing us. And again, maybe I'm just focusing too much on the main award itself. But like the history here is 2020, The Last of Us Part 2. Like that's the game. 2019 is the exception I'm saying, which is Sekiro. 2018, God of War. For goodness'
That's
sakes.
not the first exception. I would say the first exception is when Walking Dead actually won.
So that's even beyond that, and so you have to go all the way back to 2012 for that. So Legend of Zelda is 2017. Overwatch 2016 might be in that kind of like participation kind of category. Witcher 3 was 2015, which was gigantic. Dragon Age Inquisition was 2014, which was a weird year for consoles in general. So I feel like at least for the big games, it's actually pretty rare for like the biggest game of the year to not get it. I think the participation trophy thing for that side is not really correct.
For the specific category.
Yes, for the biggest game of the year.
I'm talking about the totality of the entire event.
In that case, so now we can get to that. And is that a bad thing?
Categories together in a way to make sure that everybody gets their moment.
Which for gaming, I think is okay. And I think for game, and especially for casuals, it's like, oh, I'd never heard of that game. It seems to be a really good representation of this category.
I'm trying to point out that I think it's more of a TV show and less of all of these awards are representative of the very best. I don't look at the awards as, oh yeah, these are the best in every single category as deemed by a thoughtful, very competitive nomination and voting process. I don't think that at all. I think they're looking at it. I think they look at their list of nominees and they'll go, okay, game of the year. All right, but now let's make sure, let's get this one over here and let's get this one over here and let's get this one over here. So everybody can
this game in every category.
Because if it was truly an awards process, a truly juggernaut game of the year would win all the categories. And we never have that. It never happens.
Let me ask the question. Do you think that's because reviewers are usually the judges on these type of things? I know like Kind of Funny does it some of the
I do think there is I think there is a bias with the panel being made up mainly of gaming journalists.
Yes.
I don't think that I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I just think it's worth admitting that there is a bias. We've seen those outlets and the games that they tend to gravitate to and propping up typically are shown and being reflective in the Game Awards. So if you have a game that kind of doesn't fit that profile, again, you go to something like a sports game.
Yeah,
the Game Awards is not the show for you. It's not going to be that for you because the outlet,
if you're here
the
to
process,
see awards.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not that. You should really be looking at the Game Awards as just a celebration of games. You're going to see some cool stuff. A game you like is probably going to win an award. A game that you really like is probably going to lose one that you wanted to. But overall, it's really just a celebration of gaming. We can't call it that because award shows draw numbers. Like we love an award show. We got to have some kind of competition and put things against each other because that just draws.
It just feels like a marketing event from start to finish. It doesn't feel like it. It is. It is a marketing event. It's not a I feel like the Game Developer Awards are a better representation of these.
Nobody watches those. Like that's the trade-off, and maybe that's the.
Well, they also don't announce brand new games at that event either. Like if it was a marketing event.
I was gonna say, at what other award show are they announcing new things? Are they showing trailers,
showing off the Xbox console for the first time?
Nobody does that.
Exactly.
It's only at the Game Awards.
It's a marketing.
It's a marketing, and that's okay. And you just have to kind of go into it with that mindset. Like you have to realize that this is not just the best of the best. Because if we lose too much breath, it's going to be GDC.
Focusing on the competition and being like, see, my game, my console, my developer is better than these. We lose too much breath on that because it's a marketing event. So to reiterate my answer, should you care? No, not this show.
For me, it brings to light games that I like. It does exactly what I just said. Like there are times where I'm like, maybe I should try that out. Like I want to, because there's billions of games. There's 100 games that come out a week. So like, what do you play? What do you choose to play? This could help to narrow things down a bit.
I know I may have just come off as really negative.
To try any other game, Sean. You won't ever play anything.
I've really warmed up to the Game Awards. I used to not watch it all, and last year I thought the show was pretty good. So I don't want it to come off as totally negative. Of course. Dev knows this better than most because we've had long debates about it. I only mean to raise awareness. I've been trying to tell people this is a marketing event for 6 years. Like we do this every year. We argue over who the nominees are and who's not there, and I'm like, it doesn't matter.
I think just acknowledging that nobody would watch it if it wasn't a marketing event is all you really need to say.
Of course. But I think the marketing is the lead.
But people say it as a pejorative. People say that to take away from what the Game Awards is, and it's like it's actually the thing that makes it what it is, and that's perfectly fine. It's the reason we all watch it. Even that, like Who won the Dice Awards last year, by the way?
Oh, I know.
Nobody
some.
knows.
No,
Nobody
I
knows.
watched
That's the
some of
point.
I have no idea.
So good for them.
So I wanted to ask what you guys think of the nominees, and like we said earlier, we'd revisit it. I posted mine, as I think a lot of people did online. So my game of the year so far for me this year: number 1, Death's Door; number 2, Kenna Bridge of Spirits; number 3, Far Cry 6; number 4, Forza Horizon 5; number 5, The Medium; number 6, Metroid Dread. Missing the cut for me right on the edge was Ratchet and Clank Dusk, and It Takes Two. And I haven't played Pokemon or Halo yet.
Oh, you played such good games.
I feel like Death's Door. I mean, obviously, it's my game of the year, so I feel like it's missing from here. I realize that it's an indie game and smaller, and I understand the process probably doesn't shy that. I've been making fun of Jeff and Mike Minotti. They haven't played it yet. I've been making fun of them for months. They haven't played Death's Door at all yet. I also feel like, and I realize why it does. We talked about this in Discord earlier. I do feel like it's disingenuous, or at least lacking credibility, that Forza Horizon isn't there. I understand why it isn't. Yeah, it's not there because the cutoff for them to submit and people haven't played it in time. So Jez throwing people under the bus out there trying to raise support for it today. He posted an update to his article that was trending this morning. Apparently the cutoff was November 4th. Early access for Forza was November 5th. They could go back and like update it, but nobody did. Nobody ever does. Mm-hmm. Most of the folks that I follow voted.
Do this in January.
We do this every year. Every year, games that come out in November get missed, but it's not just November. It's usually December and January. Like The Medium wasn't on any. I don't think anybody realized The Medium came out this year. Yeah, I think they all think it came out last year. Like we do this every year with this show.
Because we do this, Cyberpunk is up for an award when it shouldn't be.
RPG of the year.
You and score music. And score music.
And look, when this happened, I immediately thought of Josh. I know Josh played Cyberpunk, and I know he loves the game. So I don't want to take away from that. But again, your show is the Game Awards. You're talking about RPG of the year. To dismiss the year that was Cyberpunk and get nominate it for an award, that's where I start to look at things and I go, where is the credibility in this process? The process is lacking, transparency. It's like, how is this even possible? I realize that there are people that played and loved Cyberpunk.
I beat
even
Cyberpunk.
They should be like, yeah, but let's not give it an award.
Yeah. I beat Cyberpunk and I wouldn't give it an award.
It wasn't earned. We're talking about a game that was delisted, like the most refunds ever, it wasn't earned.
It was a broken mess.
And I think that's the issue that us customers, the people that are plugged in, I think that's the friction. It's not even an issue. That's the friction with the nominations and the categories and us. There's always going to be that friction there because I think the customer side is skewed a little bit differently than the process that they pull. I think they said popular votes only 10% of their rubric.
Do you think the Game of the Year category should have 10 games?
I think it should be as many or as few as necessary to represent the best games of the year. I don't think you should put a number on it.
I like
if there
that
were
answer.
10 games that are Game of the Year worthy, then there's 10 this year. If there's 2, I look at it like the Heisman. Every year, the Heisman Trophy is traditionally meant to go to the best player on the best team in college football. And some years, there's 7 candidates. Other years, there's 2 because only 2 made it. And I think the Game of the Year should be, and I've said this for a long time. Oh, God, I don't want to do this all over again. I feel like I do this every year. The Game Awards, if they were truly representative of like the Game of the Year, then Fortnite would have won one. And Apex would have won one. Like, there's this whole thing that's like, you look at the global popularity of Fortnite and how big it was when it hit. And, I look at the Game of the Year should be like, this was the
what
biggest,
is the criteria?
Exactly.
What is the criteria for
I think you can have a category for that. Not call it Game of the Year. I think like that. I like the title award to be this is the best one. Like this is there like from in all categories.
Okay, I think that's what
it probably should win everything else.
I think that's what your process is trying to do. Yeah. I think the process of
how the hell did Resident Evil slide in there?
That's it. I mean,
I think the process is they're trying to have an expert panel pull together what they think is the best critically received game of the year. But is that truly representative of the game of that year?
Well, I think it's conflated actually with what
I'm
you
not
just
talking about
said
the game that sells the most or is popular most, but to dismiss Fortnite when like it was at its height was redefining how these entire genres and rollouts are being done. Like it was the game of the year. It took over the gaming space. You know, like it's just an example I go to like kind of
it
make
did for
case.
shooters what GTA did for open world. Like it completely redefined everything as a BR now because of Fortnite. How does it not win Game of the Year? It doesn't make any sense.
Really confused the entire award ceremony itself. Like they had to create best ongoing process or best ongoing game as a category.
Create categories to fit people in.
Yeah, well, because it's different.
Because then why can't it win both?
Why can't it win Game of the Year?
Racing be separate from sports? Or
I mean, that's
how the hell does Mario Kart get in there?
Slight.
Like, why is the family Game of the Year 9 times out of 10 just Nintendo? Let's give Nintendo an award. I thought it was hilarious that It Takes Two is being nominated for their family Game of the Year. It's about divorce.
How is it a family game?
Nothing more family than divorce.
Again, there's a lot. Like if you start picking things apart, you can really you can go far with this if you want to get real cynical about it, or you can just be like, hey, I love video games. I want to see everybody get some shine, which I support. I'm totally fine with it. I just wish it was more apparent that that's what was happening, I guess.
But do you think you and I have chatted about this, Donnie, in terms of like the opinion you're supposed to have, like as a critic?
Yes.
Like, do you think that this is kind of in line? It is very mainstream. It's for as wide an audience as possible. See, I could see like everything you're saying. I can't argue with, but I just still want to. I don't want it to go anywhere. I don't want to totally tear it down. I still want it. I want this. And this is the best part.
We don't want it to go anywhere.
No, I like it.
We want it to still be a thing, but when it comes to the actual awards and how they're given out, it's kind of like, when
I see people go,
let's celebrate games.
Go, DEF CON on Twitter about their game missing or not being included or which ones were. I want them to be aware of what I'm saying. Right. That's really what my words are meant for. I like the event. I want to see new game reveals. That's all I watch it for.
Yeah.
I like seeing developers get on stage and get recognition for their work. So I'm totally for the game awards.
And
I
that's
like
the part
the
that
music.
Is missing sometimes.
I like the music parts. I like seeing, these folks that score music for games get a chance to shine. I'm for the event. I just want the folks that are watching that are maybe too invested or connected to it to step back and be like, look at it for what it really is. Like brush away and look at it for what it really is. What it is an event to showcase all of these different people and give them a marketing opportunity. That's what this event is. Care less about the awards. Let everybody win one. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets to feel good and go home.
I feel like that's too far. That's like you're just kind of.
But that's exactly what happens.
It's the truth. That's what happens.
There's still hope. I feel like for the awards to still mean something. You're just like, let's just give up on it.
One of the things that I also don't like about it is that the popularity of the event, because it's a marketing, takes over the conversation. There is no Game of the Year beyond what the Game Awards say, and that's not true. Every outlet has a Game Awards. I would love to have like a Metacritic of Game Awards because there's a lot of opinions out there. And like, I chose violence when they left Ori off. So the hell with it. Like, I'm going to be on this road forever. I'll never forgive them for Ori. Like, I can't.
That's fair.
It's awful. It's just it was a crazy snub. Not even to be nominated. Ridiculous.
So how do we, this happens to me every time I'm on a podcast. I end up like saying something that's going to be a ton of work and probably should just be better left unsaid. But how do we do you just said it. Why don't we do this in January? Why don't we do this in January?
We do this at Christmas, and we're going to do another episode where PSVG gets together and we have a little Game of the Year show where we talk about our favorite games.
Yeah.
And that's it. We don't give them categories and awards. We just tell you about our favorite games. I just gave you my 6.
Though.
Those are my 6
I think that's something
games.
that taps into like people like things in boxes. It checks off a box for me. I like it.
I feel a little bit more liberated when I'm left to, this is a Dev thing. Dev has conditioned me this way. When I get outside of, when you give me a category, then I need to find a way to support my reasoning, give you all the reasons why I think this game fits that box.
Right.
When you say, what are your favorites? Then I can actually bring you, dude, I played Far Cry 6 for 200 hours and loved it.
Right.
Like that's where that opinion comes. And I feel like that opinion's more, I think that one's worth more to a listener than the other one.
Because what people actually play.
Oh, it's not even just what I play. It's just like, I love this game. Like I love Death's Door.
But you actually played.
I love this fucking game. Everybody needs to play it. Play Death's Door. It's a great game.
Like Returnal is an amazing game. It checks a lot of boxes, but it's not Far Cry 6.
That's the PlayStation 5 one that's
store.
missing from those. So Xbox folks are mad that Forza's not here.
Yeah.
PlayStation folks are mad that Returnal's not here.
Yeah.
A lot of people are mad that Resident Evil is here, by the way.
No Hitman.
Maybe one of my most disappointing games of the year was Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
And it just depends on who you ask. It depends on who you ask. They're going to be disappointed about one thing or another. Some people are going to be like, I'm stoked that you got a Scarlet Nexus and a Tales of Arise in an RPG category. That's great. How does Shin Megami Tensei get in there for best role-playing game, Cyberpunk 2077, like that?
Or it just came out.
It just came out, like to the point of Forza,
12 Minutes got nominated.
Don't see how that happened.
Nope. And like Death's Door and Kena, for me, I mean, if you're asking my opinion, Death's Door and Kena both deserve credit and recognition.
I agree.
Yeah.
Those are two of the best games that I played this year, and now they only get to the indie game of the year.
Only
Again,
one
they're
of them gets to
being
win.
talk about being minimized.
Yeah,
they're being minimized. There's nothing indie about Kena Bridge of Spirits. It's one of the best looking video games you can see this year.
That's not even the best indie award. It's the best studio's first game award.
Oh God.
Or some nonsense like that. It's like best studio to have their first game. It's something crazy.
Third release in the third quarter of the year award. Again, yeah. I'm sorry, folks, if you're listening to me. It's hard for me not to be cynical on this. It's just that we've done this dance over and over and over again. So I'm to the point now where I'm like, let's get to the meat of it.
I'm the hopeless optimist.
Let's
here,
talk
so okay.
brass tacks.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I used to be the same way.
I mean, we're gonna stream it anyways. It brings people together. It's super fun. It'll have the announcements.
I'm here for Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
I'll be watching just to see Perfect Dark. Apparently, it's gonna be there. Can't wait.
That's cool.
Or no, not Perfect Dark. Hellblade. Hellblade's supposed to be there.
Ooh.
So that's I
think it'll be Banjo. I think Banjo's coming back in a big way. You heard it here first.
Nice. Okay. In less exciting discussion news, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't cover it. It's an important event that's happening right now in the game space. A report came out from the Wall Street Journal alleging Activision CEO Bobby Kotick knew about alleged sexual assault and harassment allegations, did not disclose that information to the board. The Wall Street Journal cited internal documents, emails, texts, voicemails, as well as not anonymous sources, on-record sources, former employees, lawyers that represented those employees, documents of those things being taken in public. So this is not an anonymous source told Kotaku. This is the Wall Street Journal did all of this. That detailed that the CEO was aware of many of the reported abuses that he denied within the company, including multiple accusations of rape that were emailed directly to him and did not inform the board or take it above. And I want to read off just a couple examples. Jen O'Neill, who was recently made co-head of the company with Mikey Barr, formerly of Xbox, she complained that she was tokenized, that her pay was less than her counterpart if they had the exact same role. She was only offered equality when she refused to leave. She has since left. The alleged rape of former Sledgehammer Games employee by a male supervisor in 2016 and 2017, which was settled out of court. Treyarch co-head Dan Bunting was accused of sexual harassment in 2017. The matter was investigated by HR. The recommendation from HR was that he be fired, but Kotick stopped the move. Bunting has left Treyarch since news of this report coming out. That's not a very good look, right? And Kotick has also been accused of mistreating several female employees, including leaving a voicemail in 2006 in which he threatened to have an assistant killed. Activision set up the accusation. Mr. Kotick quickly apologized 16 years ago for the obviously hyperbolic and inappropriate voicemail. He deeply regrets the exaggeration. Since then, Activision has planned to walk out with employees. PlayStation head Jim Ryan has condemned the reporting. You're seeing most of the industry post similar things or voicing things or posting articles of things. It's a really, really bad situation, obviously. And I just, you've got to cover it. It's the news. And this is big news, and it's happening right now. The board has backed Kotick again, saying that they stand by him, which I believe their statement cited a lack of factual evidence, which... I mean, I don't know. I don't want to I don't want
it's
to
a bunch of bullshit.
presume guilt, right? But this is a pattern of behavior that's sorted and documented with multiple people over decades. I don't know what more you need than that.
Right.
This all comes off the heels. Their stock is plummeted. Call of Duty's down 40%.
It's crazy that they would even like say that, their new zero tolerance policy only starts from that date. None of it goes like back. So all of this stuff that happened before Kotick instituted this zero tolerance policy, none of that matters. We're just going to erase the past and move forward. It doesn't apply to him. It's absolute nonsense. It's absolute BS, but it shouldn't be anything we should actually be surprised about.
I was surprised when they came out. I feel like I tweeted that. I was like, I did not see that coming, because I figured out with all of the information, especially how well documented and sourced that article was. I was like, oh, there's no coming back from this. Like, this is going to happen. And then they were like, no, he's our dude. I was like, wow.
Yeah, they can roll the dice because they have all the keys. They have all the chips. Like, until like Jim Ryan, like what he said, if that picks up traction and you start having all the other brands backing that and going along, and you start delisting some of Activision's games or something, until you start taking, all right, and that's my thing, until you start taking those moves, or those employees, instead of just walking out, just, we're not coming into work. Until we start having those kind of moves, they hold all the chips. They have the keys to the castle, and the castle ain't crumbling.
It's just sad.
It's sad. It's totally
full
sad.
display. Full display. They're just kind of saying, like, fuck it. We know what's going on. We don't care that you say, because we can't. Nothing we're going to do about it. We're not even going to try to do anything about it.
You can't do anything to us, so.
Yes.
The money's still flowing. We've got some programs to try to turn it around. So give Bobby Kotick, the time he needs to try to turn it around, and let's see what happens. It's just
I'm surprised he didn't step away. Like, what is he even doing this for?
Why would you? Why would you?
Yeah, but
why would I step away?
Hundreds of millionaire at this point. Like, dude, just go away.
Greed.
The crazy thing about it is 90% of the people who play Activision games don't know shit about this.
Yep.
Or care. I've told several of my friends who are big into college, I'm like, look, have you guys seen this? I've let them know what's going on. They're just like,
I struggled with it
sucks.
myself. I don't blame them. I struggled with myself. You guys know, we've been talking about Discord all summer. I've been saying, like, I'm not going to not play Call of Duty because of this, because I still want to support the people that make it.
The people that made it. Exactly. That's the other thing.
It's not so easy just to say, like, I'm going to stop. But that was also before, when this was a lot of,
before this,
I would say, hearsay. Mm-hmm. This put me in a whole different place. If you get our Discord, like, like, maybe I am kind of that point, because this is real bad. Real bad. This isn't like an unnamed employee who was terminated, like, there is none of that. This is decades of repeated incidents over and over and over and over again. It's like, what has to happen to change?
I mean, they were sued by the state.
Does he have to get caught? We need video?
Changed. Nah, because that's digital. He could have faked that. That's Photoshop.
It's insane.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. And even if you do have this boycott, like us, who actually are aware, and we decide we're not buying their games, it's not enough to make enough of an impact.
I've been saying that a lot too, but like, they're down 40%, 20% retail, 15% digital sales are down from last year. That's a lot. That might be enough. If you do that repeatedly, you do that for a full year or two, that might be enough.
It might. We'll see. I mean, it's one of those things where
that's
it's
a
like
tangible difference. You're talking millions of dollars. 40% of Call of Duty. That's millions.
We haven't hit Black Friday. All of those sales may be coming in on the back end.
They might come back. You're right. It's tough. It's a really tough place to be here, because we want to be agents of change. We want to be voice of support. But at the same time, like, we want to support the developers that make these games. And like, for me, I'm not afraid of saying I love Call of Duty. Like, it's a franchise that I love, despite him. Like, I've always loved Call of Duty.
I love World of Warcraft.
Like, it sucks. Yeah. It sucks for us in that position. So I can understand fans that don't know or don't care about it. Like, I don't blame them, I guess, is the point I'm trying to make. Like,
I think sometimes those people, you don't know where to direct your whatever it is, anger, displeasure, whatever.
Like, what
it's
do we
hard
do?
To know because there's so many failures here, right? Like, when it's down to the people, to try to make the change. And it's like, holy crap, you guys! Like,
when HR is like, fire this guy.
That's what I'm saying. It's within the company. There's a failure within the work labor standards. There's a failure within a criminal justice system. There's a failure when allegations that are backed up can't be followed through on with actual consequences. Then there's a failure. The fact that it's hit players at this point, we're like, what do we do? That means that there's been 6 layers of problems, and that's really the injustice of it.
It goes all the way back to 2006 to him threatening to have somebody killed.
He put in a voicemail that he was going to kill somebody.
That's insane.
And he's like, it was an exaggeration. What? Like, I realized
if I were to say, like, I'm going to kill you, like, I mean, it's a different.
I realized that he wasn't actually probably saying you're going to kill him, but like, you can't say that to somebody in a professional manner. You couldn't say it then. This isn't even like a woke new age thing. You can't tell employees you're going to kill them, even in a moment of weakness. That's so far beyond the line.
We talked earlier about like Phil Spencer, like changing the game. What brainiac is this guy? Like, what is he exactly? Like, how is he so indispensable?
What does he do other than collect bonuses?
I mean, he spearheaded this juggernaut that is Call of Duty, I guess.
I mean, I guess, and that's the thing. Like,
it is the game. It's the best-selling game of not a year or every year, like
all time,
the last 15 years.
Yeah. I can't imagine what it is to be a CEO of any company, let alone a juggernaut that size. So it is, there's complications there. But
he's worth hundreds of millions. They're worth hundreds of millions. Call of Duty, like, just leave.
The thing is, though, the type of person to do these things is exactly the type of person to not leave when this sort of thing unfolds.
And he did. So, that's one thing I didn't include. He doubled down. He released an article to his employees and everything. They had a conference call. He's like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not going anywhere. I'm taking just this base pay with no bonuses. And we're going to put all this money into all of these programs to try to make Activision better.
And we talked about this.
We should have been doing that so many years ago.
We talked about this.
That wasn't a self-righteous thing. That was him getting rid of the mediator. That was to help the situation. That is the only reason.
We talked about this about a month ago when they announced their programs. Dev was upset that he shared all these updates and these things that they were doing. And myself and Hayley, all we focused on was codec. And he was like, you're dismissing all of this good that's happening. And you're right. But as I said then, as I say now, it won't matter until he's gone. Like, this is just going to hover over everything until something's changed. So they could do the best thing ever and it still won't matter.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if he actually ends up going anywhere. And I hope that all the programs they're putting in place actually start to change the workplace.
I would love.
He slowly just kind of disappears.
I would love nothing more than to see the industry start to. We will not carry this game until that would be such a great.
That is what I want to see. I would love that.
They're missing 30% of a giant $1 billion pie.
If we can delist Cyberpunk because of how bad it was, we should be able to be like, you know what, we don't want to do business with you, bro.
I think PlayStation delisted Cyberpunk because Cyberpunk said, call PlayStation for a refund. They threw PlayStation on the bus.
They did.
Yeah.
So PlayStation were like, fuck you guys.
That's a different story. That's the thing. We know that we can just go ahead and delist the game.
No, they can. But with Call of Duty, you're missing so much. It's money. It's a money thing. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying they won't because you're not talking.
I mean, people will still go buy a physical disc anyway.
Millions, big money.
It also sets a bit of a precedent that is difficult to uphold in the future. True. Right. So and this is an extreme case. There's no doubt about it. But then you go, okay, well, this was pretty bad. Like, this is very bad. And then you have a situation somewhere else that surely is happening, and so it's dangerous. It's a little tricky. It's just more complicated than we always make it seem. So you're right that because we're desperate. The thing is that everybody's desperate for this just to be fixed. So let's hope for
somebody with the power to do good, do something.
Let me add on to this little tidbit about it. Companies don't want to do that because when you stand on that moral high ground, you have to live on that.
That's what I'm saying. And
the problem with that is typically when people do that, the skeletons in their closet start to come out.
That's right.
And you could face a legal recourse as well.
Legal recourses. Then all of a sudden you start hearing stuff about, not saying this is true or anything like that, stuff that's happening in Sony or other companies that may try to hey, well, you guys are standing up to this, but look what you guys are doing over here. And a lot of companies just don't want to be dealing with that at all on any levels.
Yep. All right, let's move on. Doug Bowser said Nintendo's taking complaints of Switch Online seriously, so maybe they'll update it. Outriders is getting a big Horizon update this week ahead of the expansion that comes out next year. Saints Row has been delayed out of February to August.
That's okay.
No surprise
big
there.
news that came out overnight. Something had to get delayed. Game Pass, Dragon Age and Dead Space are out now, also including the back and bet. Next Space Rebels, XO1, Fate Tactics, My Friend Pedro comes back to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Undungeon, Deer Simulator, Mortal Shell, and Evil Genius 2 arrive before the end of the month, and nobody cares because they're just playing Halo. Before the end of the month, you can play Call of the Sea. It leaves November 30th. Definitely play that game. FIFA 19, Football Manager 2021, Haven,
19.
Hello Neighbor, Mork Red, Valhalla, a cyberpunk bartender action, and then Destiny 2 and all expansions leaves Game Pass December 8th.
Boo.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's the
people
day
are
that the
real
Halo
frustrated
campaign
by
comes
that.
out.
Boo that
It's
one.
also the day that the 30th or the 20th anniversary pack for Destiny 2 comes out.
Nice.
So they have like a content update that drops that day.
Play Call of the Sea. I hope my PlayStation folks played it. I love that game. It was a great game. That's the news. Big news week. I knew it was going to be a long episode. A lot of news, a lot of Xbox, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, lots of news. We've already answered a couple of questions, so I'm only going to do 3 questions because it's a long show, and we've had some good discussions, and we've answered some questions already. So, first question comes from Zero Skill. He says, you, me, and Capri and PSVG are the podcast equivalent to a musician supergroup. If you could take game developer groups and mash them together, who would you choose, and what type of game could they make?
Insomniac and Naughty Dog. Fuck it.
Initiative and Crystal Dynamics.
What are they making?
Nice.
What are they making though? Like what kind of game?
Well, Sean's they're making Perfect Dark. I don't know what the hell Delvin's making.
Yeah.
The Last of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man a bust.
Into the Spider-Verse. I mean,
I'm going to say an X-Men game. A full-fledged X-Men game using the Last of Us multiplayer.
How many times do you call Devin a nerd? And then every answer, it's like every superhero answer to every.
Well, here's a secret. I'm a nerd as well.
I know.
he's a big ass nerd.
Very
He just
much
doesn't
so.
understand anything.
I love
about
his nerd
electronics.
though. Like, and he does it. It's like revenge, and then he's like nerd. It's real good.
Right.
Yeah.
He's just a hater.
After we go off the show, me and Dev just nerd out about nerdy shit
It's
to
true.
ourselves
It's just
all
true.
the time.
It's the absolute truth. We were gonna execute Order 66. You're lucky. You're lucky.
very
You'd have
lucky.
been real mad, Donnie. It's
Real
coming.
bad.
It's coming. I don't know who the hell I'm mashing.
How and on that, and if we talk about PSVG kayfabe, how are the PlayStation folks going to execute order whatever when it's an Empire? This is what
I
they
don't
do.
I don't recognize you as no Star Wars
Know about the
nonsense. Nathan
start
is
of
gone.
PlayStation Empire now. Like, what's happening here?
No. You guys.
We're not
were
going
never
to tell you what it
anything-
is.
Yeah.
Until that
I don't
happens.
want to know. I don't care.
You'll know when it happens.
Yeah.
Dev, what's your answer?
I don't know, man. I don't be knowing who publishers and developers are. I have no answer.
I wrote down answers.
Of course you do. You got notes.
You got notes.
My answer is Sidebar Games and Clap Hands, the makers of Hot Shots Golf. I would love to take Sidebar Game makers Golf Story, take the story and writing of Golf Story and the world design, the world building, and you add it to the impeccable golf mechanics that Clap Hands is capable of, and you have the world's best golf game. What I wanted Mario Golf to be. I also wrote down Naughty Dog to give Delvin a little pitch here, and the Call of Duty teams.
Ah.
That's what they're missing. Call of Duty is the best production in the world with Naughty Dog, and you take the story and writing elements of Naughty Dog and their designers from a narrative perspective, and you give it to Call of Duty, and you let them make a real campaign. Fucking best damn game ever.
First person or third person?
No, I want a Call of Duty game with
It'd
a
be Call of
story
Duty, so
capable
it'd
of
be a
Naughty Dog.
first person.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I wrote Nintendo EAD and Ubisoft. In particular, here I'm thinking of the Zelda team and the Assassin's Creed or the Far Cry team. You know, like Ubisoft's, their incredible game machine that makes excellent 4K 60 beautiful big giant things, and then you let Nintendo do the story and the lore for it and build great characters that people care about. And I think we'd have an excellent game.
Far Cry 6. I love that game so much. Love it so much. Yeah, I got nothing for this, but the little spicy follow-up, which I think is actually more interesting to me. He says, a lot of you are the, shut up and take my money type, but how much is too much for you to pay for a game like just the regular version? No extras, no DLC, no statues, no basketballs. Just here's the game and it's going to cost this much. What prices you out of buying the game? You're totally interested in.
Yeah. I thought about this when you asked, because I've obviously spent a lot more for stupid editions, but I've even bought games that were more. I think maybe like 120. If you had an amazing, like if the GTA 6 comes out and it reviews and it's just fucking amazing. Like if it's GTA 5, but next gen GTA, like if it is what GTA 5 did at the time now, and they were like, yeah, the game's $120. Yeah, I'd buy it.
I think it depends on the game and who's making it. Nintendo,
oh, it definitely does.
Like for Nintendo, they never go on sale, right? So my price threshold is pretty high on that degree. Like if Breath of the Wild comes out and they're like, you know what, we just
$80.
Swing their big old Nintendo D, and just like it's gonna be $100, yo. And I'm like, probably would pay for it because it's never gonna come down.
Too. Yeah,
it's never gonna come down. Ubisoft or somebody else comes out with a game, they say, yeah, it's this is the game and it's really great, and I'm like, I'll wait. I will, and it's just kind of where I'm at right now, to be honest with you. I feel like there's a lot of Nintendo games that are overpriced, and I buy them anyways. I think Pokemon Snap shouldn't have been $60 US or $80 here. Even WarioWare probably overpriced, and I still bought
Mario
that.
Golf.
Mario Golf for sure. But I end up just buying it because I know they're not going to go really on sale, and when they do, it'll be 4 years down the road, and they'll be 30% off. So
yeah, you'll get $47.99.
It's not worth it to miss it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, pretty high. I would say I don't know if there's a real dollar figure, but I think I walk that line right now. So
I wouldn't pay $100 for a Mario game. I don't care if it's the best damn looking Mario game I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I just don't value it that high. But you said the right word. A Zelda game? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would.
I mean, the thing is that like there's been chatter about, games like Assassin's Creed that are 200 hours or Witcher that are 200 hours. Like, should those be more than $60? Like, we've sort of set this as the limit, and there's probably reason to believe that those could be priced more. And even Sony now, they're like, no, the games are $70 now.
Yeah, and they are, they are too. Like, they are priced that more. They offer a little incentives or a costume or whatever, but they find a way to get the retail price up to 80, 90, 100, 150. I paid $100 for Far Cry. For the gold edition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me it's probably $70-$80. I hardly buy the stupid editions anymore. I just don't have anywhere to put any of that stuff, and I usually don't end up playing a lot of the extra stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, it's probably $70-$80 to be perfectly honest.
My max is probably 100, but it has to be something that I really, really love.
If the next Destiny came out, Destiny 3, and it was $99, you'd buy it, right, Dev?
Probably.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. You have to pick the game.
You have to love it. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna buy anything that you don't love for that much money. Yeah. Sorry, Delvin.
No, I'm trying to think. I think $100 I'd probably buy the Telltale collection. I'm not talking about just like The Walking Dead, like all the Telltale games in one big bundle for $100. I think that I'd buy.
I think you can do that on Xbox.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I think you can. I think that exists, man, and it's not even $100.
No,
I got good news for you, Del.
I have the Walking Dead one. The Walking Dead one I have. I don't think I have the Telltale, like all of them in one big bundle.
That's crazy. You just made me think of something that has nothing to do with this question. Let me ask you this: would you pay, like, let's say Xbox is like for Black Friday only for the next 8 hours? If you give us $1,000, you can have every game currently in the store. Would you do something like that?
I'd do it.
Like, I would. Do you think there's like room at a very high-end premium, like real money price?
Maybe I wouldn't.
For them to make money off of people that they're just not tapping into.
Probably.
Because
like they're selling a Gucci Xbox.
Yeah.
People are gonna buy this stupid thing.
Like, we have all these bundles that go the opposite way. I would love to know, like, what, like, go the opposite of Humble Bundle.
That's the gym membership
opposite
model
of Humble.
right there.
Like, Greed Bundle.
You get the money from the people who don't even use the thing.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're saying. Like, how do you charge for and still like the payment that goes to the developers or publishers based on who uses it?
You just tack on an extra $1,000 to that Gucci Xbox, and there you go. Those idiots.
It's kind of like what I do with Game Pass. I just buy Game Pass infinitely. Like, I wonder if you could just buy a console and you're like, you know what? If you have this $2,500 right now, you just play anything you want on the store for 2 years.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool.
Like just an all-you-can-eat pass. But it's like really expensive. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No.
It's interesting.
No.
You'd probably save money doing it.
Yeah. Well, I think we would. Because we're
in the long run. Then you get into
I don't buy enough games to save that. No. That would not save me anything.
Yeah.
I should do that one day. Just calculate how much I spend a year in games and see how much it comes up to.
Don't do
that every year at E3 as I tally up what my pre-orders.
What are you about to buy? Actually, I do too. Yeah, you're right. Man, I mean, Game Pass allowed me to buy these controllers, for God's sake.
$800 worth of games. Hey, Sean, let me know if your Forza controller... I've got 2 of them because my home button kind of sticks, not always, but I feel like I have to press the guide button harder or a second longer than normally to get the guide to pop up. Like I can sit there, like I can do this. I can sit there and tap it without the menu popping up. Like it's like almost like a permanent press and hold. I've tested it against my other controllers and I'm not seeing the same thing. So it feels like maybe they made a slight alteration to it, maybe. Like the slightest of differences. I don't think most people would even notice.
These, I will say, do we talk about design lab stuff?
They sent me another one, and it's the same. Like it feels the exact same. It's like I don't think this is an issue with the controller. I think this is just how this controller works.
I haven't decided if I'm going to play with it yet. Actually, I don't know if this is just for my shelf or if I'm going to play with it. I will say, like, it feels really nice. It's gorgeous. The blue and the pink kind of remind me of the Pokemon Switch that I've got. The Pokemon Light.
I love the controller.
The Switch Light. It's amazing.
The rubber grips fit perfectly. I mean, it's good.
I mean, it's tires. Yeah.
Yep. That's my main controller now. That's what I play with.
That's cool. All right. Next question. Voiced by Nathan asks, how do we feel about retailers paywalling console purchases?
Oh, I hate it. Like bundling things together so that you have to pay $800.
Not the bundle.
No.
So Walmart has the Walmart Plus, and if you subscribe to that, they put all the high price, like the high priority, high ticket items. You have to have Walmart Plus to be able to do it. Best Buy also has their total equipment protection or whatnot. That's $200 a year. It'll cover anything you buy. They'll fix it or whatnot, or replace it or whatnot. But it also guarantees you the ability to buy like some of these high ticket items. So if you don't have it, you can't buy the PlayStation when it gets launched. You can't buy the Xbox when it comes. You can't buy the new iPhone or whatever. It's all these high price, high ticket items.
I'm for it. I think it's a great benefit.
I think I am too.
Because this is the only thing that I've seen in the last year that accurately combats the bots.
Scalpers.
I saw so many people 2 weeks ago getting PS5s when Walmart did it for the first time. They had PS5s being sold all day. I saw it was like for 4 hours there were people getting PS5s. I was like, look at this. Like this is actually working. And I know, like I think Best Buy's a little egregious. 200's a little far.
Yeah.
Also the offering's a little light. But like in the respects of Walmart and Amazon, those initiatives actually give you something I think most people will take advantage of. Free delivery, access to things, convenience, discounts. Most people will take advantage. It's not like they're just getting your $100. You'll never hear from them again. You know, it's Amazon, Walmart, and people shop there all the time. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think Walmart is also good because you get like the delivery of food. Like there's a lot more to the Walmart Plus that you get a good bonus and it helps combat the bot. So I'm for it.
Yeah.
The Best Buy one, I mean, you have to be a hardcore Best Buy customer who buys a lot of electronics for it to really pay off.
If that rewards program at Best Buy reinstituted the Gamers Club, I'd do it.
I wouldn't because I don't buy any physical games.
I made so much money off of that thing. I saved so much money.
I think if you thought about it in a way where you had to have Xbox Live or Game Pass or PlayStation Now or PlayStation Plus in order to buy directly from Xbox or Sony, then people would be kind of on board with that because it's directly from them, so it makes a lot of sense.
I wish we did. That'd be great.
Well, and that's just it. So that's sort of like my test for all of this. Like, am I for or against the paywall in principle? No, because I'd be okay with it there. Maybe it's a little nastier with a couple of these examples, but in principle, I would say no.
I wish they had a certain amount that were locked and you had to buy it through your console. One per console, and you had to actually log into the console and buy.
Yep. I've definitely talked about that before, for sure.
Yeah. I would definitely be okay with it. I wish PlayStation did that when they're sending out all their invites. Like,
well, it seemed like
you got 100 million PS4 people to sell to.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
do what Call of Duty
Delvin
does.
Jr. would have checked his email. He would have been able to have it sooner. That's a whole different story. But
that also happened. Tell me after the goddamn fact.
yeah. All right, well, fellas, that's going to do it for this episode of PSVG. Just want to give a thank you to our live on-air producers before we get up out of here. So I want to say thank you to Michael Masick, Edwin Calo, Stephen Keller, Nick Creature, Paul Callicoat, Kyle Haiman, myself, Josh the Bonesaw Borbone, RJ Kern, Horse Girl 69,
nice,
Zack Adams, Joe Wilson, Michael Taylor, and Truckle Sloth. Thank you guys so much for your patronage. That's gonna do it for me. Anything you guys want to add?
I was here for Horse Girl 69.
No.
So.
There it is. Well,
nice.
Until next time, play some video games.